Hi guys. I made a paid service in Telegram where you will find a great collection of fanfiction audiobooks organized and regularly updated. What you get? An unlimited access to the full audiobook library. New fanfiction audiobooks added regularly. You can play audios directly from Telegram anytime. Joining our service is available through a monthly subscription of $5. You can pay using PayPal or Ko-fi. So what are you waiting for? Send me a message on Telegram or Discord. I will provide the payment details. After the payment is confirmed, you will receive access to the private Telegram channel containing all audiobooks. If you enjoy fanfiction and prefer listening instead of reading, this library is made for you. Message me anytime to join.
Ch. 1 Prologue, Death and Reincarnation. It was just your typical kind of life. I graduated from college, landed a job at a sort of big general contractor outfit, and with my older brother taking care of our parents for me, I was currently enjoying all the myriad benefits of the bachelor paid life. Age 37. No significant other. I wasn't exactly short or frumpy or hideous or anything, but when it came to the opposite sex, apparently I had nothing to offer. I'd made efforts along those lines, with varying degrees of dedication, but by the third rejection, something fizzled out within me. I really enjoy reading light novels and manga. My favorite genres are fantasy, another world, and isekai, typical stories where summoned hero defeats demon lord. I read novels, I read manga, then I work overtime so I can buy more merch, and somewhere in between, the possibility of a girlfriend just vanished into another dimension. I'm not making excuses, alright? It's just that I started thinking, oh, hello, sir. Sorry we're late. There he was, walking toward me, bursting with all that youthful energy of his. He and the beautiful woman next to him. His name was Tensura, one of the guys who worked under me, and she was Saatari, the front desk lady and pretty much the it girl around the office. These bums asked to see me because they were getting married and wanted my advice. In other words, this meeting was the whole reason I was brooding over why I was such a failure at personal relationships. I was leaning against a telephone pole at the intersection where we'd agreed to meet after work, thinking to myself, nah. I nodded a greeting at Saatari and asked, what did you want to talk about? Oh, good to meet you. My name's Miho Saatari. I've seen you at work a lot, but, I guess this is the first time I've spoken to you, huh? It makes me kind of nervous, somehow. I'm the one who should be nervous, lady. My mind griped to itself. It's not like I'm any good at speaking to women. How about a little sympathy here? Oh, there's nothing to be nervous about, I replied. Satoru Mikami. It's good to meet you, Ms. Saatari. Tensura and I went to the same college, and we kinda hit it off during his training period, so that's how we know each other. Cool, refreshing, and completely guileless. Tensura was impossible to hate. He was still just 28, quite a bit younger than I was, but we got along well nonetheless. I probably owed him at least a few congratulations. Ah! Screams. Chaos. What's going on? Move. I'll kill you. I turned around to find a man sprinting toward me, a backpack in one hand and a kitchen knife in the other. I could hear shrieking. He was coming my way. With a knife. A knife? And at the other end of it was pointed towards Tensura. I can't let him die. I thought that I tried to push Tensura away. Tamuraaa. The moment I shoved Tensura aside, I felt a burning pain run across my back. My body balled up as it collapsed to the ground, trying to withstand the shock. I couldn't tell what had happened. I wanted to move, but I couldn't. Get the hell out of my way. The man shouted as he ran off. I watched him go and then checked to see how my companions were. The suddenness of it all had reduced Tensura to a stupor, but he was unhurt. That was good. But, man, was my back burning. So hot. Beyond anything I'd describe as pain. What's up with that? It's too hot. Gimme a break. Confirmed. Resist heat, successfully acquired. What? Resist heat, acquired? My back hurts. Did I just get stabbed? So I'm gonna die from a stabbing? Holy crap, can't I get little more heroic end? Confirmed. Resist piercing weapon, successfully acquired. Following up with resist melee attack. Successfully acquired. I'm bleeding. Well, duh. I'm only human. If you stab me, I'll probably bleed all over you, yes. Damn, this was starting to hurt, though. Confirmed, pain nullification, successfully acquired. Mr. Mikami, you're the blood. Tensura tried to hold me up, face drained of color and looking about ready to break into sobs. So much for that bravado from 2 minutes ago. I tried to see how Saatari was doing, but my vision was too fogged up to manage it. Now the burning feeling on my back was starting to fizzle out. Instead, an intense, frigid cold was attacking me from head to toe. That's probably bad. People die once they bleed too much, don't they? Confirmed. Constructing a blood-free body. Successful. I tried to speak. And failed. Shit. I think this might really be it. Like, the pain and the heat were pretty well gone by now. It was just cold. Cold as hell. I felt as if I was gonna freeze in place. Who knew dying could keep you so damn busy? Confirmed. Resist cold, successfully acquired. Combined with the previously acquired resist heat, the skill has progressed to resist temperature. Just then, what remained of my increasingly oxygen-deprived brain cells chanced upon a flash of brilliance. Oh, Crayop, the files on my hard drive. I summoned up my remaining wells of strength, striving to relay the final regret I had left in life. Tamurae, if anything bad happens to me, take my computer, okay? Put it in the bathtub, turn it on, and just fry everything on the disk for me, man. Confirmed. Electricity-based deletion of data. Cannot execute. More information required. Substituting with resist electricity. Successfully acquired. It took a moment for my plea to register with Tamura. He gave me a blank stare. Then he snickered. Haha, that's just like you, isn't it? I wrung out the last bit of strength my body had to offer. Just kill my PC for me. It was just your typical kind of life. I was enjoying all the myriad benefits of the bachelor pad life. And I was a virgin. Imagine that. Floating off to meet my maker in completely unused condition. My manhood was probably crying its single eye out right then. Sorry I couldn't make you a real grown-up. If there's such a thing as reincarnation, I'm gonna go on the attack next time, I promise. I'll hit up everyone I see, stalking my prey before I go in for the kill. Okay, not like that, but. Confirmed. Unique skill Predator, successfully acquired. I mean, here I was, looking at 40 without ever losing my virginity. Like an old sage meditating in the mountains. Another few years, and I probably could have been the great sage of celibacy. Not the road I wanted to take in life, but there you go. Confirmed. Extra skill Sage, successfully acquired. Evolving extra skill Sage into unique skill Great Sage. Successful. What? A mysterious voice, but what it said. Unique skill. It's like novel I enjoy reading. I first acquired a extra skill and it evolved into unique. So extra skill and unique skill exist and extra skill evolve into unique skill. Does that mean something like ultimate exist? Will it evolve into ultimate skill? Confirmed. Evolving unique skill Great Sage into ultimate skill, failed. What? It failed. Wait, does that mean ultimate skill exist but I can't have one? Why? My skill got evolved when I thought something like becoming Great Sage of celibacy after I turn 40. Do I have to turn 60 or something to evolve my unique skill? But that's impossible, aren't I already dead? Then how am I supposed to get ultimate skill? I want ultimate skill so badly, it sounds so cool. I can be hero or protector of justice or something like that. I want ultimate skill. I want it. I want it. I really want ultimate skill as I begged this mysterious voice for ultimate skill with all my heart. I heard. Confirmed. Evolving unique skill Great Sage into ultimate skill Raphael, Lord of Wisdom, successful. What? I really got it. So if I ask for it, can I get another powerful main character like skill? If it's possible, I want skill which helps me to copy and learn other person's skill and fighting style. It will be cool when I am fighting opponent. When I am about to be defeated, I will say something like, ha ha ha, to defeat me you have to be strong enough to defeat yourself. Then I will copy his skills and use it against him. Confirmed. Unique skill Mathine, successfully acquired. It's Greek word, it's mean to learn. I used it because it sound cool. Let me know if there is other cooler name for this skill. Now I have acquired another skill. Maybe I should acquire some more ops skills. Before I could continue down that train of thought, however, I felt really sleepy. Guess I can't get any more skill. I don't know if this is dream of reality. If it's reality and I really reborn in another world, then unlike this world I am gonna enjoy my new life without any regret. Before I knew it I was in very deep sleep. Note: in this story Rimuru will be lot smarter and more of reincarnation novels lover. Because of that he has a lot of knowledge about skills and magic and he is more aware of his own situation. This is my first story, so be ruthlessly honest and point out any mistakes in grammar so I can improve. I know how I want a plot to go, but I still like to hear your opinion too so I can improve plot. That's all, thank you for reading. Ch2 Skills. It was dark. Too dark to see anything. Where was I? What even happened, for that matter? My name was Satoru Mikami. Just another 37-year-old in a suit. And when I shoved my coworker aside on the street, some random maniac stabbed me. Then I heard a mysterious voice giving me skill or something. Then I died. Was all that a dream? Or reality? I tried looking at my surroundings. Then I noticed I couldn't open my eyes. Odd, I thought as I tried to rub them and my arms didn't respond. And more to the point, where's my head, anyway? Panicking, I checked to see whether I was hurt anywhere. I didn't seem to be. Physically, I felt terrific. No cold, no heat, perfectly comfortable. That, at least, came as a relief. Now for my hands and legs. Oops, not so hot there. No response from any of my limbs. What's up with that? Getting stabbed in the back wouldn't force the doctors to amputate all my extremities, would it? I'd kind of like those back. Am I, in a coma or something? I was conscious, certainly, but had I gotten detached from my central nervous system? Maybe. As I was wondering what to do just then, I felt something brush against my body. What's that? I focused all of my senses on this unknown sensation. It felt like grass against what might have been the side of my stomach. Concentrating on the sensations, I slowly began sussing out what was around me. I could feel the pointy edges of some nearby leaves prick against my body. This, at least, was clear evidence that I was not on any kind of hospital bed. The feeling beneath my stomach took the form of hard, jagged rock. It still didn't make much sense to me, but I appeared to be outdoors. So I headed toward the grass, keeping my senses keen against what I touched, although I wasn't quite clear on where my head was. There was nothing to smell. I wasn't sure whether I had that sense or not. Really, I had no idea what I was shaped like. I felt, flowing, jelly-like, kind of like a certain fantasy monster I was well familiar with. In fact, the idea had been running through my head for a while now. Did really reborn in a different world or something? What? Wasn't that just a dream? I decided to leave that anxiety-inducing prospect behind for the time being and instead try out the final thing a human does when they see something unknown, that is, try tasting it. Not that I knew where my mouth was. So, now what? Suddenly, a voice ran across my mind. Use the unique skill Predator, yes no. What? Unique skill Predator. Isn't the Predator skill I acquired in that dream? I don't want to believe it, but with all this evidence only point towards one possibility, that I am now reborn in a different world. But why can't I see anything or feel any of my limb? Did my body died and now I am in my soul form? Isn't it time for a beautiful goddess to come and explain about the world I am about to reborn and give me a mission of defeating an evil demon lord or something? Or am I already reincarnated? Then where is that sexy, beautiful goddess? Wait a minute, didn't I heard some mysterious voice when I was dying? Was that voice of a goddess? But that sounded more like cold, unfeeling words, like a computer-generated voice. Let's call it divine voice temporarily until I find out whose voice is that. Let's go with no for now. No response. I waited a while for one, but no further voices came. I waited for a while but nothing. Kind of rude of that divine voice, though. Showing up, asking a simple question, then disappearing forever. It was nice hearing someone for a change, but, the hell. Oh well. Let's go on with what I was trying before. Let's taste. I moved toward the grass I felt earlier. As it brushed up against me, I leaned forward, feeling the whole of my weight settle over the field. It was definitely grass of some sort. Once I was sure of that, I suddenly realized that the area where the plants met my body was starting to melt. But apparently the grass was melting. And with that, I could now tell that the components of the plant life beneath me were being taken into my body. From this, there were a few conclusions I could sensibly make. First, I was no longer human. That was a given by now. I did remember hearing something like confirmed. Constructing a blood-free body. Successful. From a divine voice. While I was complaining about bleeding too much, this might mean I have a body that does not have blood. Second, I felt, flowing, jelly-like. Does that mean I am a jellyfish? But I don't feel any water, so probably not. I can absorb grass too. Third, I am on a rock-like surface. There are a lot of grass, so maybe I am in some kind of cave. If I consider all this, including the probability of being in a different world, then the only thing that comes to mind is that I am a creature who doesn't have blood. Absorb plant. Reside in a dungeon like a cave. The only thing that comes to mind is that I am. Let's put unpleasant thoughts to the side. What happened to Tamura? To Saatari? Did he scramble my hard drive for me, like he promised? He'd better not seen what was inside that hard drive. I taking what was in that to my grave. But I am already dead. Well, I guess there isn't anybody laughing at my stupid joke. By this point, none of that really mattered anymore. I had to think about what came next. I would just have to accept it, though. Accept the fact that my soul, or whatever you want to call it, had been reborn inside a monster from another world. The odds of such a thing seemed astronomically low to me, but I'd been reborn. As a slime. Munch, 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 munch. I just snacked on some grass. Why did I do that? Well, why not? Not like I had anything else to do. Beside, most times when the main character in the story thinks something is normal, but in reality it's a super legendary item, so this might be some kind of legendary grass. Maybe I can use this grass to defeat the demon lord. Sigh. Who am I kidding? There is no way a slime could be the main character. There is no way a weak slime like me could defeat a demon lord. And even if I could defeat a demon lord, there is no way I could get to marry a princess. A princess marrying a slime sounds absurd. I have to cope with this. Maybe I should find some slime princess to marry if she exists. It had been a few days or so since I accepted the fact that I am now a slime. How many, I wasn't exactly clear on. The passage of time is tough to pick up on when all you can see is total darkness. One discovery I had stumbled upon over the past few days was that a slime's body could be way more useful than at first sniff. I never got hungry, for one, nor did I get tired. Food and sleep, for me, were wholly unnecessary. If I had this ability in my past life, I didn't have to worry about being sleepy after watching anime whole night. And I had divined something else, too. I couldn't be completely sure, but there didn't seem to be anything else living around here. In terms of danger, I wasn't sure there was any to speak of. My days were blissfully free of worry. The whole time, I never heard the divine voice again. Maybe it got angry when I complained about it not being a goddess. How childish of divine voice. By this point, I wouldn't have minded a little companionship. But no. It was just me, the grass, and me eating it for lack of much else to do. It was simply a way to kill time. And by this point, I could sense the entire process, my body absorbing the blades, dismantling them internally, sorting through all the components, and storing them away. I needed to do something, or I'd lose my mind. So I kept going through the cycle: absorb, break down, store up. But there was something odd about the process. Elimination never factored into it, somehow. Not even once. Maybe slimes didn't need to do that. Hell, not like I'd know either way. But where was all this stuff I was ingesting going, then? My senses told me that my form hadn't changed in any appreciable manner from when I first arrived. Received. It is being stored in the stomach of the unique skill predator. Current physical space usage is less than 1%. What? Whoa. So the pouty divine voice finally decided to speak. But since when was I using any skills? I thought I answered no back there. Received. The unique skill predator is not being used. The matter being ingested into your body is set to automatically be stored in your stomach. This can be changed as needed. Oh, well, nice to see we're having a real back and forth, finally. But back to business. If I use this skill, what happens then? Received. The unique skill predator chiefly comprises the following 5 effects. Predation takes the target into your body. Lesser chance of success if the target has its own consciousness. Can be targeted on organic and inorganic objects, as well as skills and magic. Analysis analyzes and researches targets taken into your body. Lets you create craftable items. If the required materials are present, allows you to make a copy of the item. Successful analysis of the casting method allows you to learn the target's skills and magic. Stomach stores the predated target. Can also store materials created via analysis. Items stored in your stomach are unaffected by time. Mimicry reproduces the form and skills of absorbed targets. Only available once the target has been analyzed. Isolate stores harmful effects incapable of being analyzed, neutralizing them and breaking them down into magical force. That sounded kind of an incredible ability. Not exactly the kind of thing slimes were known for. At least not the ones I knew. I was wondering, who are you? Received. This is the effect of the ultimate skill, Raphael, Lord of Wisdom. The skill has taken effect, making it more immediately available. Raphael, huh. And here I thought the divine voice was just screwing with me. Now it is the best partner I have. Hope that keeps up. Also, isn't the name Raphael is the name of an archangel? It definitely sounds important. I have to keep this in mind. By my count, it had been 90 days since I was reincarnated as a slime. To be more precise, 90 days, 7 hours, 34 minutes, and 52 seconds. How was I so sure about this? Turned out that was one of the many side effects of evoking that Raphael skill. Holy cats, was that thing helpful? Talk about your best friend in a pinch. Any question that popped to mind, it instantly provided the answer. According to this Raphael, it took 90 days for the skill to fully fuse itself with my soul. Normally, it would be unable to provide responses in the form of conversation, but in order to answer my questions, it apparently revamped itself, diverting part of its world language powers to assist me. That's how it was explained to me, at least. And it seems Raphael isn't a divine voice. It was world language that gave me all these skills. This useful ability relaying words into my mind isn't normally possible. As it explained to me, this world language was heard only when there were great changes to the world or when you either earned or upgraded a skill, something that normally didn't happen all that often. These skills were obtained only rarely, when the world recognized that you had grown in one way or another. Evolution, meanwhile, was something most people never got to experience in their lives. So there I was, still locked in darkness, asking a barrage of questions. One thing the replies confirmed was that yes, I was a slime now. I also found out why I never got hungry or sleepy. The slimes in this world, it turned out, never had to eat if they could keep absorbing the magic particles, or magicules, in the air. In less magically abundant regions, I would be obliged to fill up by absorbing monsters or small creatures. Most slimes shied away from areas with low magic presences, but the ones that didn't were apparently both quite strong and madly vicious. Usually it was the other way around, where a wealth of local magic meant especially strong monsters. In other words, the area I took up residence in was so laden with magic that I didn't even have to eat. As for the sleep question, received. The body of a slime consists of a mass of completely identical cells. Each individual cell may function as a brain cell, a nerve cell, or a muscle cell. Since the operational cells used for thought are rotated in and out at regular intervals, there is no need for you to sleep. Speaking of which, the Raphael skill consisted of 5 effects. Thought acceleration allows the user to increase the speed of their thought process by millions. The user can adjust the level of acceleration as needed, as well as extend the effect to other individuals. Analytical appraisal releases waves that enter the target of analysis and perform a full scan of their composition, which is then sent back to the user. Through this, the user can gain information such as the material composition of the target, the amount of magicules it possesses, and if they're under the effects of skills or magic. Parallel calculation allows the user to carry out multiple thought processes simultaneously. Possible applications include the detachment of analysis of phenomena from the user's regular thoughts, and the preservation of consciousness by using additional thought processes as backups. Chant annulment eliminates the need for chanting when using magic after a spell is analyzed or successfully cast. The spell is stored in the user's mind and available to be instantly cast just by thinking about its activation. All of creation, it allows the user to comprehend anything as long as they have a basic understanding of it and it is perceivable to the user. Alteration, allows the user to modify and evolve skills. It sound cool. Also didn't I got another unique skill? What was its name? Received. It was a unique skill Mathine. Oh. So now I don't have to worry about forgetting any important thing. Well, putting Raphael's usefulness to side, what is this Mathine? Received. The unique skill Mathine consisted of 5 effects. Copy, allows the user to copy the skills and arts of their successfully analyzed target. Obtaining skills and arts through this skill doesn't grant the user any level of proficiency in said skills and arts, nor any compatibility with them, meaning there is a valid chance that the user will never be able to master them. Analyze releases waves that enter the target of analysis and perform a full scan of their targeted skill or art, which is then sent back to the user. The skill can either fail or succeed. Even in the case of failure, however, it can be reattempted as many times as needed until it succeeds. Perfect memory, it allows the user to record their memories into their astral body, an ability normally exclusive to spiritual life forms. This grants them immunity to mind control outside the astral body. It also lets the user retain their memories for as long as their soul remains intact. This allows the user to be resurrected without consequences even if their brain and spiritual body have been destroyed. Learn, it grants the user ability to understand copied skill or art, and helps to master them efficiently. Find weakness, it grants the user ability to find weakness of target through analyze. If you have an idea about any better name, let me know. Raphael also explained other skills and resistance I have. After a while I got a great idea. Could I link the Mathine analyze skill with Raphael parallel operation? Received. It is possible to link Mathine analysis with Raphael parallel operation. Do you wish to link them? Yes, no. Yeah. You don't have to ask every time. I have another great idea. Could I link the Predator analysis skill with Raphael's parallel operation? Received. It is possible to link Predator analysis with Raphael parallel operation. Success. Great. Now let's continue doing what I was doing before, during which I continue to think of another great idea. Note. I wanted to introduce Feldera in this part, but before I knew it, I wrote a lot of other details, so I changed it to be more focused on skills. Well, in this chapter, unlike original Raphael, is a lot more like skill since it just fully fused itself with Rimuru's soul, so it didn't have much self-awareness. As Raphael interacts with Rimuru, it will slowly start to gain self-awareness. Also, in case you noticed, Raphael's skill does not include skill, synthesize/separate, it's because Raphael got this skill by absorbing Shiza's unique skill Degenerate. So currently Raphael doesn't not possess it. As for other skills, Predator is pretty much the same as Canon. And Mathine, it's similar to Hineda's unique skill Usurper, but more focused on the learning side instead of stealing. And since it's focused on learning by observing the opponent, it also has sub-skill Find Weakness, although I am not satisfied with its name, so if you have any better name for it, let me know. That's all, thank you for reading. Ch3 New Friend. As I kept going through the cycle absorb, break down, store up, I wondered what kind of grass is this. Raphael, is your time to shine. Analysis complete. Hippocute herbs, a type of ingredient used in healing medication, only thrives in areas blessed with high local magic densities. Fusing its juice with magicules produces recovery medicine. Grinding the blades and fusing them with magicules produces a salve that closes wounds. Raphael. Oh, so thing I thought it to be normal grass turns out to be some really rare herbs. I immediately set out to create some medicine of my very own. The process took place inside my body, so it didn't really feel much like crafting, but the analysis took less than a second, and within another 3-ish, I had my very first potion. 5 minutes, and I could have had 100. And while I didn't have anything else to compare it to, it got high quality rating by Raphael, so I wasn't worried about its performance. I continued to predate all the herbs I can find. For an instant, I was like, huh. I felt a sudden sensation that I had grown lighter or heavier or, like, unstable. Did I fall in some water? I had probably slipped into a river or something. Rivers don't exist indoors, so maybe it was some kind of underground creek in this cave I was in. Up to now, I had been careful with every step I took, making sure everything remained steady in the darkness. But after learning about my skills, getting full of myself, and using predation to eat a pasture's worth of grass, I had stopped paying attention to what was under me. Guess it's over, then. Pretty short lifetime even by slime standards, maybe. I said my final prayers, awaiting my inevitable suffocation. What? Suffocation never came. Why? A slime's body operates exclusively on magicules. Oxygen is unnecessary, and therefore, so is breathing. That is why you have not been engaging in that behavior, Raphael. Yeah, I definitely knew that. You don't have to treat me like an idiot, Raphael. Raphael. What was that? You got something to say to me, Raphael? No. It is your imagination, Raphael. Oh, all right. At the beginning Raphael was a lot quieter, but as the day passed by it got a lot more talkative. Every now and then when I do something stupid, creative. I get feeling like Raphael is exasperated with it. Odd, Raphael did same thing when I tried to cast some magic while doing some cool poses. It didn't make any comments, but somehow I can feel how Raphael is feeling, maybe because it fused itself with my soul. Well, I can think about it later. For now I have to find a way to get out of this. I thought slimes could float on water, but I was wrong. It seems like I didn't completely sink either. I am kinda stuck in between. I can't move either. Raphael, do you have any ideas? Received. It is possible to use Predator on this water, and then by spitting it out it can work like waterjet propulsion. Raphael. Oh, great idea. I started drinking, filling my Predator's stomach up to approximately 10% of its capacity. Then, I expelled it like I was wringing out my stomach. The sense of release was exhilarating. Suddenly, I heard a voice in my mind. Water pressure propulsion skill acquired. I recognized it. This had to be the so-called world language, the one I am calling Divine Voice. There was no mistaking it. It sounds exactly like Raphael, but it sounds a lot more emotionless, computer-like voice. Raphael also sounds like a computer, but I can feel its emotions to a certain degree. Raphael feels a lot more human-like. Are all ultimate skills this human-like, or Raphael is special? It's probably the later. It feels like somehow it got. As that thought occurred to me, I felt my body crash headlong into something and bounce off it. I braced myself for a wave of paralyzing pain, which never came. Shouldn't that have, damaged me? Or did it damage me, and I just didn't feel it, or whatever? Notice. My master possesses cancel pain, which interrupts the creation of pain. Your resist melee attack has reduced the amount of damage taken. The amount of damage your body has incurred is 10%. The intrinsic slime skill self-regeneration has taken effect. Raphael, would you like to support it with your Predator unique skill? Yes, no. Ugh. It feels like Raphael wanted to say, you seriously forgot you have cancel pain. No such fact can be confirmed, Raphael. You are not denying it. And it's a fact. Well, it's kinda my fault. Raphael did give me summary of all my skill and resistance. Putting that to the side, Predator support, though, I don't really get it, but sure. At that moment, I was greeted with the feeling that I had suddenly lost some of my body mass. After a while, I felt it return. My damaged parts had been predated, analyzed, and repaired. Talk about a useful body to have. I should try testing later to see how much of it I can afford to lose before I'm KO'd. It was way too dangerous to mess with in detail, but I guess I could afford to go without at least a bit of it at a time, so I checked out my surroundings. No telling what kind of dangerous monsters might be nearby. I was out of the water, but maybe there were scary, scaly things waiting for me on the other side. Slowly, carefully, I started taking action. It kind of seemed as if whenever I did something carefully, it meant I was about to be exposed to a heap of danger. I was sure it was just my mind playing tricks on me, though. And that thought probably did me no favors, because... Can you hear me, little one? I heard something. I heard something. Little one? It's probably not anyone besides me, is it? It wasn't a voice, exactly, but something I could recognize more directly and instinctually in my mind. I didn't have any ears to listen with anyway. Hello, you can hear me, can you not? Respond to me. Well, no shit. But how was I supposed to reply without any mouth? As an experiment, I tried thinking, shut up, moron. In my mind, not like this guy could hear it or anything. But how was I gonna get anywhere here if I couldn't even give a oh ho? You dare to call me moron, do you? Rather a lot of nerve packed into such a little body, no? I had hoped to give my first guest in quite a while a little kindness, but it would seem you are in rather hurry to die. Oh, geez, could have warned me that would work first. And I had no idea who I was dealing with, either. Well, that was it. My loss. As always, if you make someone angry unintentionally, apologize. Time for an apology. I'm sorry. I didn't know how to reply to you, so I just tried saying the first thing that came to mind. I'm really sorry about that. I can't see anything right now, so I have no idea what you even look like. I apologized sincerely and lowered my non-existing head. Hehehe, ahaha. The resulting laugh came in 3 distinct levels. A masterpiece. Only an overconfident villain who is about to be beaten by the main character have laughter like that. I better be cautious, it sounds like trouble. How fascinating. I had assumed you reacted as such upon seeing me, but you cannot. Most slimes are low-level monsters, incapable of conscious thought as they run through the cycle of absorption, division, and regeneration. It is the rare one, indeed, that ever leaves its habitat. Perhaps you were born from the mass of magicules that leaked out from me, then. Let's try using my previous world otaku knowledge to suss this out. This guy, I'll call him a guy for convenience's sake, had been leaking magic all over the local area. It was so thick, in fact, that it gave birth to a monster. A slime. Me. Was that it? I didn't hear any normal human can do something like this. Then again, it's not some anime or manga, it's reality, so it might be possible. Maybe this guy is some kind of super strong mage. Or he might be a hero or demon lord. Well, I don't think any human will talk to a slime, instead they just kill it, so the possibility is slim. And as for the demon lords do have a monster army, but why does a demon lord bother to talk to a slime? I don't know. Weirdos do exist in every world. Well, there is another possibility that this guy is none of the above but something completely different, maybe some kind of monster like me. Either way, he is definitely the kind of person with whom I should get along with. Oh, so you're kind of, like, my dad, then? No, not your parent by blood. I have no reproductive ability to speak of. Some monsters do, and some do not, you see. So it's confirmed that this guy is monster then? As I told you, then, I lack the ability to produce offspring. The reason is simple. Because I do not need to. I am of the dragon race, one of only 4 in the world, both unique and the most perfect of my kind. You will hereby know me as Feldura, the storm dragon. My lifespan is infinite, my flesh unfathomable. As long as my will remains intact, I shall be ever alive. Ah ha 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 ha. He could have skipped the laughter. And while this guy took a while to get to the point, he did mention something I didn't want to overlook. Feldura was the storm dragon? Amazing. This is definitely kind of guy I should get along with. Maybe I can learn something like dragon fist technique. Well, I don't have fists, so I can't learn it. I should definitely need to learn some kind of technique, maybe jelly fist technique, since I am like a jellyfish. I have told you all about myself. It is your turn now, would you not agree? Feldura asked with a curious tone. He wanted to know about me. If I told him about my miraculous journey from an alien planet, would he believe me? He is a dragon and one of 4 true dragons. If I tried to make something up, I doubted he'd fall for it. Such an attempt seemed like a good way to dig my own grave. Well, whatever. If he didn't believe me, I'd deal with it then. Summoning my resolve, I told Feldura everything that had happened to me so far. Well, I didn't tell him about my ultimate skill. I didn't lie, I just didn't tell him the whole truth, so it's fine. While prudently keeping the topic of my skills unexplored, I regaled the dragon with my tale of being stabbed, waking up as a slime, and everything else that happened on the way to his domain. It was a bit weird how, well, non-rough it all sounded when I put it into words. But it was rough for me all the same. And the worst part was how I was literally operating blind the entire way. If some cute lady passed me on the road later on, would I ever get to see her? The thought saddened me a little. Raphael. Do you want to say something, Raphael? I thought to myself. No, Raphael. It definitely sounds colder than usual. I was wondering what happened to Raphael. Feldura spoke to me. So a transmigrant, then? Your origins are quite rare, indeed. Feldura. Transmigrant? What's that? I asked Feldura. You do see transmigrants, on occasion. Their memories from the past are burned into their souls, due to a powerful will. There are some, indeed, who retain every memory of their past lives. But a transmigrant from another world, that is quite uncommon. A regular soul, by itself, would have no hope of surviving a journey across realms. It would dissolve midway, taking its memories with it. Someone retaining their full mind and becoming reborn as a monster out of pure magic. I cannot recall any past example of that. Quite peculiar, indeed. Feldura explained. He had just told me something I couldn't afford to ignore. A soul, by itself. So you could travel to this world without getting reincarnated or anything? Am I that unusual? Then am I chosen one? At that time I didn't know true meaning of the chosen one. In future when I found out the true meaning of it from a certain blonde hair, I will cry tears of envy. But that future has to come after a long time. Are there people, then, who come here from other worlds without being whatevered? I asked Feldura. There are. None have succeeded in traveling to another world from here, but there are more than a few that have completed their travels here from elsewhere. They are known as visitors, or otherworlders, and they bear knowledge of things that do not exist in this world. They acquire, as I hear it, some manner of special power when they make the journey here. Beyond that, there are records of transmigrants, who as I said bear knowledge of other worlds. Not all of them choose to openly identify themselves as such, though, I imagine. Feldura explained to me like a teacher lecturing to a particularly weak student. He kinda talks a lot. I see. In that case, I think I'll try and track down some of these otherworlders, as you called them. Maybe I'll find someone from my own land. I told Feldura. Well, one moment. You said you cannot see, yes? Feldura asked. Oh, yeah. And? Let me help you see, then. Feldura. Really? Indeed. On one condition, however. What do you say? Feldura. I knew it. Nothing comes free. What kind of condition? A simple one. When I grant you the ability of sight, I beg of you not to fear me. That, and I bid you come visit and speak to me again. That is all. I trust my terms are agreeable to you. Feldura said a little hesitantly. That's all. Was he sure? What a lonely dragon. Guess there was no one else around at the top. No wonder he couldn't stop talking to me. I must have been his first conversational partner in ages. If I'd had my druthers, I would have said this dragon was a total pushover. He might have been feeding me a line this whole time, even, saying he was a dragon. Maybe the dragons in this world weren't even all that powerful in the first place. At that time my admiration for dragon lost significantly. Is that really all you need? I asked. Yes. To be honest with you, I was sealed away in here 300 years ago. Ever since then, I have had so much free time on my hands, I was practically out of my mind with boredom. What do you think? Feldera told me with slightly depressed tone. I felt bad for him. It must have been lonely. I was lonely in here until Raphael started talking to me. I know how it feels. So I accepted his request immediately. Well, if that's all you need, you got yourself a deal. Very well. There is a skill known as magic sense. Can you use it? Feldera. No, I can't. What kind of skill is that? It allows you to perceive the particles of magic floating around you. It is not a very powerful skill, and all it offers is a visual reference, so it is not difficult to acquire. Feldera. Really? So once I learn that, I'll be able to see again. Yes, allow me to help you acquire this skill, then. This is the only method I am aware of. Feldera. I'm ready to learn, sir. Now, no need for such ardor. It is quite simple. First, try moving the magic around you with the force in your body. Feldera tensed up, trying to imagine the strength circulating through my body. I could feel something moving within the magicules my companion was talking about. I hadn't been conscious of it in the water, but it looked as though I could adjust the force by how much I tensed up. Before, I hadn't been controlling the water so much as I was controlling the magic dancing around in it. I was exercising my magical muscles, and the particles around me were reacting. It came to me surprisingly quickly. You are more gifted in this than I thought. Now, do you see the difference between the magic moving within you and that outside of your body? All it takes is feeling the movements of the particles outside of you. Feldera. I could sense them hanging in the air, riding air currents, moving around all sorts of sensations. Let's ask Raphael about this. Confirmed. Extra skill magic sense, successfully acquired. Use the extra skill magic sense. Yes, no. It was that easy. I wish Raphael had told me about this before. It was Raphael's fault that I couldn't see. I definitely didn't think that it would be cool to act like some kind of super skilled blind swordsman. Yup, it was all Raphael. Raphael. Now it's time to invoke the magic sense. The moment I invoked magic sense, my brain was filled with new information. A massive amount, something my human brain never could have processed, the waves of light and sound pushing every single tiny particle around, and I processed it all, converting it into perceptible data. Synchronizing extra skill magic sense with the ultimate skill Raphael. Successful. All information will now be managed by Raphael. Suddenly, my vision opened up. The brain-searing sensation from before was gone, and then I could see so clearly that it was a wonder I wasn't able to do it before. Something told me that having the sage at my side was almost cheating. It wouldn't be going too far to put it that way. If someone else had it, I'd probably bitch that it was against the rules. Since I had it, though. No problem. Thank you very much for helping, Raphael. You are great. While I am at it, I think I've got it. Thank you very much. I said, turning my attention to the dragon in front of me. He really was a dragon. He was covered in scales that shone a dark shade of black, tougher looking than steel itself but supple and flexible. A big, evil looking. Wow, you look really cool. I said, nearly shouting. He looks exactly like a dragon I liked. My admiration for the dragon increased significantly. He looked positively demonic, towering far higher than I anticipated. My internal thoughts welled up, pouring out of me, and I don't think I could really be blamed for it. Ah ha 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 ha. That's your reaction after seeing me, not that I blame you. Anyone's reaction will be same after seeing my majestic form. Ah ha 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 ha. Feldera said, with a pride. Well, I couldn't blame him for being prideful. The body, startlingly similar to a Western-style dragon's, shone like obsidian. His golden eyes shining like diamond. There were 6 fingers on each hand, equipped with claws that looked ready to tear through whatever they found. The 2 pairs of wings on his back, one larger than the other, came to a point at their respective ends, like swords honed to perfection and ready to dice. Turned out, by the way, that I was indeed oval-shaped, like a little bun. Kind of a light turquoise, maybe, lighter than the daylight sky, but not by a lot. A rather elegant color, I thought. Shame about the whole being a slime thing. You do remember your promise, yes. And considering your previous complaints, you learned rather quickly, no. Feldera. The more I stared at him, the more sinister and terrifying he seemed. And yet he didn't move a single inch. He mentioned a 300-year-old seal, right? By the way, Feldera, you said something about being sealed away. Was your opponent that tough? She was quite strong. She was what the humans call a hero, one blessed with so-called divine protection. Feldera. Now that I recall, Feldera continued, the hero also said she was summoned. Perhaps she hails from the same area as you. Summoned is that different transmigrant, as I asked. Feldera started to give me an explanation about different between summoned and transmigrant. In a way, he knew almost too much as a dragon. At least conversing together put me on his good side enough that he answered all my questions. So we kept talking, Feldera and I, dragon and slime, about all sorts of things. How had the fight gone with this hero? How strong was she? I asked, which started another trail of explanation from Feldera. Her skin was pale in color. The dragon told me her lips were bright red and small. Her long hair was a dark shade of silver, kept back in a single ponytail. She was slim, not that tall, rather small for a human. Her face was apparently covered by a mask, but there was no doubting her beauty. I asked him whether this beauty was enough to distract him, whether he was too enwrapped to defend himself properly. Enough of your nonsense. He bellowed back at me. Apparently she carried a long, curved sword. A katana, it was called. She didn't bother with a shield. Taking advantage of two unique skills, absolute severance and unlimited imprisonment, and a wealth of other magic, she, as Feldra put it, overwhelmed him. There was more than a trace of nostalgic contentment in his voice, or so it seemed to me. Something I picked up on as we spoke was that this dragon, I think he really liked humans. He kept calling them wimps and garbage and such, but from the way he put it, he never deliberately killed anyone who attacked him. Not unless they went out of their way to rile him. One time, 3 centuries ago, just one time, he emphasized a certain chain of events made him reduce an entire city to embers. That was what made the people send a hero his way, and now thanks to that hero's unlimited imprisonment, he was in his current predicament. I thought the dragon was supposed to be scary, but Feldra was really nice to me. I am now certain Feldra is a good dragon. Well, he is a little immature though. Who in their right mind burns down the whole city to embers? All right. Well, what do you think, friends, then? I asked Feldra. What? A mere slime, daring to seek the friendship of the mighty beast feared worldwide as Feldra the Storm Dragon. Feldra. Oh, you don't have to if you don't want, but... You fool. You foolish fool. Who said anything about not wishing it? Feldra said, while panicking. Oh, no. Okay, so, now what? Indeed. If you insist, I suppose I could consider it, Feldra, while having slight blush on his face. What? I could feel him sneaking furtive glances at me. It would have been one thing if it had been a cute girl sitting next to me at the movie theater, but it was quite another when it was a death-dealing mythical beast. Not fun. Pretty funny, though. Let's calm down first. I took deep breath and started to think. Let's see, by the looks of it confirmed that Feldra is Tsundra. It's the first time I've heard a dragon can be like this, but I did read about some particularly perverted dragons that exist, so why not Tsundra? Since Feldra is Tsundra, so best way to deal with him is just brute force. Yep, I insist. It's settled. And if you don't like it, then watch out, 'cause I'll never come back. No, so be it. I will become your friend. I do hope you appreciate the gesture. Feldra said while blushing. Seriously, why is this guy blushing like that? I am not into BL. This better not be a BL, as I complained to an author or God, whoever exists, praying it doesn't come true. I told Feldra. Well, to future times, then. Indeed, to future times. Yes, allow me to give you a name. In exchange, you will give one to us both. Feldra. Why? Where'd that come from? It shall chisel into our souls the fact that we are of the same rank. Something similar to the family names the humans use, except my name, for you, will also provide a kind of divine blessing. You are still nameless now, but through this, you will become a full-fledged named monster. Feldra. I decided to come up with something cool which complements Feldra's name and type. Well, you said you were a storm dragon, so, how about Tempest the Storm Dragon? Feldra. Tempest. Doesn't it sound super cool? Perfect. So be it. A wonderful timbre to that title, yes. From this day forward, they will call me Feldra Tempest. And you will be called Rimuru. Proclaim to the world that your name is Rimuru Tempest. Feldra said happily. Thus the name was carved into my soul. Not that it did too much to me, or my abilities, but somewhere, deep inside my soul, something did change a bit. I suppose the same could be said of Feldra, and that's how we became friends. After becoming friends and spending that much time with Feldra, I came to like him as a friend, and don't want my friend to be stuck here forever. Well, here, let me try something. I rolled over to Feldra and tapped my body against him, invoking unique skill Predator to consume unique skill unlimited imprisonment. Failed, Raphael. Was there anything I could do, though? Something. Partial analysis of unique skill unlimited imprisonment complete. Potential escape routes are. Any escape involving a physical body is not possible. The chance of destroying the prison by physically damaging it is 0. Cannot analyze an escape route involving the annulment of imaginary space. One would need to be caught within the same unlimited imprisonment situation in order to analyze it from the inside. This is currently impossible. The chance of escaping in spiritual form is 1%. If a spiritual receptacle is prepared for the target on the outside to aid in the transition, the success rate is 3%. This process is equivalent to transmigration. If the target is poorly compatible with the receptacle, he will lose all memories and abilities. Raphael. Yeah, so, you want to try escaping, maybe? If I had the right receptacle, I think that'd help our chances a fair amount. Do you know what I'd need, though? I asked Feldra while I explained what we can do. Indeed, even if I escaped in spiritual form only, it would be quite difficult to regather magic and form my core once more. Your creating a small tear in the prison helped my chances immensely, no doubt. As for that receptacle, the new core, if you can bring one to me, all I'd have to do is traverse myself over to it. Transmigration, I suppose, Feldra said thoughtfully. Pretty much, yeah. If it's something I can get on this side, I could look for it for you. As I was wondering what to do, I came up with a great plan. What if I used Predator to consume Feldora himself? I could either analyze him inside my stomach, or isolate him and annul the effect of unlimited imprisonment, and he'd be out. Would that work? It is possible to store the target Feldora in your stomach via the unique skill Predator, Raphael. Wahahaha. Fascinating. Please, go ahead. I leave myself at your mercy. Feldora replied after I explained how my unique skill Predator works and what I am intending to do. So the plan was I'd use Raphael and Predator to analyze this barrier, and Feldora would try to destroy it from the inside. No worries about Feldora dissipating away in my stomach. I was starting to think this could actually work. Right. I summoned up my stores of resolve, touching him for a moment, then activated my predation skill. In a moment, Feldora's massive form disappeared from sight. Conduct analysis of unique skill unlimited imprisonment? Yes, no. This better work, I prayed as I thought yes to myself. Note. Now it's time to talk about the chapter. In this chapter Rimuru met Feldora and became friends with him. Feldora is the same as canon. Cause why not? I like how Feldora originally is, so no changes in Feldora's personality. As for Rimuru, he is a lot more otaku, like he is smart at times but also goofy. And why is that? Because again I like characters who act all funny but are actually smart and strong, like Gojo form JJK. Your opinions for this chapter will be appreciated. And if I made any mistakes, which I probably made a lot, let me know so I can improve. That's all. Thank you for reading. Hope you enjoy the story. Ch. 4, Goblin Village. Rimuru POV. 30 days had passed since I swallowed Feldora. What had I been up to? Well, think about it. If you were reborn in another world, what would you do? I mean, I am slime now. There isn't much I can do. Back in my old world there isn't any novel or manga about slime, so I don't have any reference for any slime battle moves. So I've been spending my time thinking about some new signature moves a handsome slime like me can do. I write Raphael. Yes, Raphael. I knew you will understand, partner. I wanted to use some magic but I don't know how, and according to Raphael I am incapable of using magic at a moment. To use magic I have to either learn through book or analyze some else. Casting magic.so magic is out of question. So I continued to roam around while thinking about my next move. Along the way, I'd also been consuming any particularly odd-looking herbs or glowing rocks I stumbled across. There was a fair amount. I was still in the region Feldora described as teeming with local magic, and nearly everything I found there was hypocute herbs, which was about what I figured. Healing potions for me, I suppose. Also found that most of the glowing stones and such around here were what was called magic ore, which could supposedly be refined into a metal harder than iron or steel and highly compatible with magic. I was kinda hoping for something a little less common, but I didn't even know whether orichalcum or crimson ore existed here, even if they were famous back on Earth. I shouldn't be too greedy. I wanted to create some magic swords, but I didn't have any hand to wield, so I decided to wait until I get human form. Yes, you heard right, I can have human form. When I complained to Raphael how troublesome being slime is, Raphael told me, notice, it is possible to gain human form through sub-skill mimicry of unique skill Predator. So I can have human form, but to do that I have to get out of here first. So I started to find way out of here. As I was roaming around the cave I came back to the underground lake. This brings back memories when I nearly drowned. I used waterjet propulsion to get out of the water. It kinda sent me flying to the Feldora. Oh, I got a wonderful idea. If I could spit out water fast enough to give me powers of flight, maybe I could slice right through foes, too, like a high-pressure waterjet cutter. No, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I was about to screw it up again like last time when I failed to control pressure, which sent me flying. Right, you think I won't be able to control pressure this time too, aren't you? You really shouldn't look down on people like that. I was good in a pinch, you know. They always wrote that in my report cards at school and stuff. Excellent work when he applies himself. But back to business. I moved right into the action phase last time without testing a single thing, which was fairly ill-advised. That, and I ejected too much water at once, propelling myself far quicker than intended. No game plan whatsoever. This time, I'd keep it at water pistol level, expelling just a bit at a time. Just taking a mouthful of water and thpbbt spitting it out. Here I go. Not much water coming out. Too small of an exit hole. I expanded it a bit. Water shot out with a little more energy this time, dousing a nearby boulder I was targeting. A promising sign. After a few more minutes spent adjusting my water levels, I decided to boost the pressure just a tad more before opening wide. Launch. Then again, gradually upping the output as I kept my water gun practice going. It was starting to take form, yes, but, okay, while a shot of water might sting a bit, I didn't think it'd deliver a particularly decisive attack. Maybe I could vibrate my body's surface to create currents or something? I gave it a shot, running magical force across my skin to control the particles around me. The vibration ran across my entire body, so I tried to point it in a single direction, and that was all it took to get me moving. Nice. I spent a little while whizzing around the water like that, enjoying the experience. A nice change of pace, to be sure, but I totally wasn't just messing around, alright? Let's keep that straight. Skill, current movement, acquired. I continued to train until just as I'd hoped, it worked. A small jet, ejected sharply out of my body, slapped itself against the boulder, and it actually broke the rock slightly where it hit. After a while the cylindrical shot of water fought through the air resistance fast enough to leave after images, just like a blade, then slashed its way right through the rock, with enough force to astound even me. It was the pinnacle of my efforts, the best results of my week of practice. Skill: water blade acquired. Skills: water pressure propulsion, current movement, and water blade acquired. Combining and upgrading to extra skill: control water. 150 days had passed since I got reincarnated at the banks of this cavern lake. Was I nervous? No. I still couldn't talk, exactly. I had no vocal cords, and I'd been poking around my body for something I could use as a substitute, but no dice yet. Staying here until I had more success was one option, but unlike with the water blades, I really had nothing to go on. For now, it'd have to be telepathy or nothing, and if my would-be conversational partner couldn't use that, then so be it. Not the greatest of situations, but there you go. Either way, I couldn't goof around in here forever. I wanted to see the outside world, and if I could, I'd love to run into some fellow Japanese otherworlder castaways. Learning some magic could be fun, too. Feldora wasn't giving me any particular responses or signs inside me. It almost felt as though I'd lost him, but Raphael said he is fine and enjoying it, although Raphael seemed a little pissed about something. Let me be clear, I didn't do anything yet. It's probably something Feldora did. I hope I can meet Feldora again, we had a promise. Besides, next time we meet, I'd better have some funny stories I can share with him. The path from the underground lake to the surface took the form of a single long cavern path, which I was currently bouncing and oozing my way along. I was moving quite a bit better than I'd originally pictured. Even in the dank darkness, harnessing magic sense made it look as bright as a sunny day to me. As I plodded on, I found that the path was blocked by a large gate. As I was wondering what to do next. Phew, finally got this thing open. The whole lock and mechanism must have rusted out, someone said. Yeah, I'll bet. Nobody's even tried going in for 300 years or whatever, right? Replied a second voice. There is no record of anyone attempting an entry. Are you sure we're safe? We are not leaving ourselves open to sudden attack. Commented a third. I was wondering about that, actually, the third replied. Are you sure that's the truth, Cabal? A basilisk is a B+ ranked monster. You truly handled that by yourself. Quit playing dumb. I'm B ranked, you know. Some huge reptile ain't gonna faze me. Alright. Just keep your guard up, if you could. And remember, we can always use my escape skill if things turn sour. Can we save the friendly chit-chat for later? The first interjected. I need some quiet. It's just about time for me to activate concealing arts. 3 of them, it sounded like, none of them making much of an effort at stealth. And I understood everything they said, too. Odd. Received. Your magic sense skill can be adapted to decipher sound waves that have willful meaning stored inside them. Okay, so I couldn't speak to them, but I could get what they were saying. That was good. As I was wondering what to do, the slim man leading the trio did something, and the 3 of them suddenly began fading from sight. Not entirely, mind you. He did mention a concealing something or other, some kind of skill, presumably. I wonder what he learned that for. Not for sneaking into people's bedrooms, hopefully. How scandalous. I'll definitely have to make friends with him later. And learn that sacred technique. Oops. It seems I made Raphael angry. Don't worry, my intentions are pure. I sprang back into action. Through the door I went, and before any of them could come back to check on things, I was gone. Flick. Flick. Our eyes met. It was a fateful meeting. Maybe it's a sign of love. We stared at each other's eyes. Slowly, I averted mine. There was a gigantic, ominous-looking serpent in front of me, a jet-black one with thorn scales, tough skin, and an appearance that made the snakes of earth look positively cuddly. This creature in my path made me feel like a deer or a slime in the headlights. In the next serpent proceed to attack me. I dodged. Is this what people call toxic love? To return its feeling I used my unique skill Mathine to find its weak spot, and without another moment's hesitation, I squared up toward the snake's neck and unleashed a water blade. With a lethal-sounding fwish air, the blade pierced through the air and struck the monster. It all happened in an instant, so quick, I doubted my eyes. Without a single bit of resistance, the water blade lopped the black snake's head off. A snake so huge, so ominous-looking, I was sure I'd be nothing but a mid-afternoon snack to it. My attack was strong than expected. Well, it seems our fateful encounter ended. RIP. It was nice meeting you, Snake. Well, enough of sadness now. It's time to absorb the snake and gain some new skill. I promise you, Snake. Your sacrifice won't be wasted. The results were not bad. In addition to the ability to disguise myself as a black snake, I gained the following 2 skills. Sense heat source, intrinsic skill. Identifies any heat reactions in the local area, not affected by any concealing effects. Poisonous breath, intrinsic skill. A powerful breath-type poison, corrosion, attack. Affects an area 7 meters in front of the user in a 120-degree radius. It looked as if this poison had a corrosive effect on its target, damaging whatever equipment or flesh it touched. A normal adventurer would probably have a lot of trouble against this guy, wouldn't they? Though who could say, really, given the kind of magic available in this world. I further analyze what else I gained from this fateful meeting. The results. 1. Mimicking the black snake increased my bodily volume. 2. The skills I just earned could be invoked without having to mimic the snake's form, although their performance could suffer as a result. To go into further detail. 1. I could break down and store the monsters I consumed with Predator in my stomach. I'd used Predator on my own body in order to repair damage, and this provided some spare cells to help with that, in other words. 2. Intrinsic skills appeared to be skills that were exclusive to a certain type of monster. My absorb, self-regeneration, and dissolve skills were intrinsic to me as a slime. However, to use intrinsics, I needed to take the form of the monster in question, or else I couldn't bust them out all the way. I could still use them in part, though, and some skills like Sense Heat Source seemed to work just fine either way. Putting it all together, Predator freakin' rocked. I couldn't wait to track down some other useful skills with this thing. 3 days had passed after my snake battle. I was still in the cave. I had yet to see a single ray of sunshine, but my vision still worked just fine in the dark. However, a certain anxiety was starting to work its way into my head. I mean, I technically knew it wasn't possible, but I couldn't help but consider it. I'm not lost, am I? I'd be fine. It was probably just a really long path. Not knowing the exact way did make me a little nervous, though. Was there any way to get some help with that? Received. Display the paths you've currently taken in your brain. Yes, no. Pfft. I laughed at myself. Are you kidding me? I thought, unable to resist a little whining. If I had something like that, why didn't you tell me sooner? Report. My master was too busy playing with his snake mimicry to hear me before. WH. What? I wasn't playing. TH. That was. Research. Yes, it was research. I want to make sure how my skills work. Skills are important. It will be helpful at critical times in future. I sputtered. After convincing myself that I was researching, I decided to get out of here. Now Raphael, show me the map. I scoped out the map that flashed into my mind. Am I reading this right? It looks like I've been circling through the same area over and over again. Following the map in my brain, I delved into a branch of the cave I'd never bothered trying before. There, I was greeted by a sight that had wholly eluded me for the past week. Ha ha ha, guess I'm lost after all. Flustering me like this. This must be one hell of a cave. I gotta hand it to the thing. And my lack of direction was not the issue, alright? As I continued to explore the unexplored area along the way, I had a few more monster encounters. To be exact, a centipede monster, evil centipede, rank B+. A big spider, black spider, rank B. A vampire bat, giant bat, rank C+. A big shelled lizard, Armosaurus, rank B-. Sadly no more of those black snakes, though. Maybe that was the only one. Between this and that, I managed to absorb quite a few monsters in this cave. Let's go over the skills I acquired. To summarize. Black snake, poisonous breath, sense heat source. Centipede, paralyzing breath. Big spider, sticky thread, steel thread. Vampire bat, drain, ultrasonic wave. Shelled lizard, body armor. Whenever you get a new toy, you want to use it, right? Same here. So I harnessed the Raphael to research all the skills I picked up. First, the spider. Who wouldn't want to imitate that famous superhero who does all the spidery stuff? Firing webs from his hands powerful enough to let him swing around skyscrapers. With great power comes great responsibility. And other stuff. Sticky thread, it seemed, was originally meant to let the user encase their prey in webs, rendering them immobile. But could I use it to do some fancy web rope slinging of my own? Let's try it. Pointed at that tree branch, and whoosh, sweeing. Let's get to the most important skill. What? Sticky thread? Never heard of it. Just some skill that leaves you hanging around motionless in the air. Ultrasonic wave, its effect doesn't matter to me. What is important is the sonic waves it emitted did. This slime was about to get his voice back. Talk about a stroke of luck. I started my research. Restlessly, foregoing all sleep, not that I needed it, I walked around for 3 days and 3 nights, testing it out. The end result. I come from outer space. It wasn't perfect yet, so I began the long, arduous voice adjustment process. These supersonic waves were so useful. I thought I remembered reading something about a weapon that used sound waves. A sonic buster or sonic blaster or something like that. Could I do that? Received. There is a chance that the skill, super vibration, may be derived from ultrasonic wave. This cannot be acquired at this time. Super vibration? Let's not about that. Obtaining vocal cords is a huge coup by itself. I should be happy with it. And while it took some time, I eventually made it. The outside. The first time I got to bask in the sunlight of this world. The cave, it turned out, was in a forest. The exit was just a hole at the foot of a mountain, more of a small hill, really, which stood out against the vast trees that surrounded it. In fact, thanks to the dense foliage, this hill was the only point you could see the sun from. Take a step into the forest, and all appeared to be dim darkness again. A fair amount of time had passed since I left the cave. At the moment I haven't decided what to do yet, so I kept messing around with the new skills I'd obtained from the monsters I'd consumed in the cave. How to use them, neat ways to combine them, whatever else I could do with them, etc. Speech was a particular focus. As I continued down the path I'd found no particular destination. It would have been nice if there was a town or village with someone nice I could have talked to, but everything had been incredibly quiet over the past few days. After getting attacked so frequently in the cave, I hardly got any attention at all outdoors. My magic sense skill spotted a group of monsters approaching. They were goblins, those infamous marauders of many a would-be adventuring party. Talk about sticking to the script. No doubt they were here to attack the weakest of would-be heroes, which meant me, I guess. But, really, 30 of them against a single slime? Kind of a lot at once, wasn't it? As I sized them up, the goblin's apparent leader opened his mouth. Gruh. Strong one. Have you business here? Goblin leader. Huh, goblins talk. Or maybe magic sense is helping me decipher their grunting. And come on, strong one. First they're surrounding me with their weapons, then they're rolling out the red carpet for me, a simple harmless slime. What do they want? They seem intelligent enough. Maybe this conversation thing could work out after all. But will they understand me? I focused my thoughts on my still newborn voice and gingerly tried a few words. Good to meet you, I guess. My name is Rimuru. I'm a slime.so. What did you need from me? I don't have any business around here. Rimuru. I see. Village of us is ahead. We felt strong monster nearby, so we came to patrol. Goblin. Leader. A strong monster? I didn't spot anything like that. Where is it? And why can't I sense any strong monster nearby through the magic sense? As I was getting confused, Raphael answered. Notice. Master, they are talking about you. Huh, me a strong monster. If they are worried about a single slime, they must be super weak or something. The goblins and I spoke for a while longer, and before long, I wound up receiving an invitation to their village. They were willing to put me up for a bit, even. Pretty nice guys, given how scraggly they all looked. So I accepted. I had no need to sleep, but a little rest never hurt a guy. Along the way, I got to hear a bit of the local gossip. It turned out the god they worshipped had recently disappeared. Without it, the local monsters had started acting up a lot more than before. At the same time, more human adventurers - powerful ones, as they put it, were starting to invade the forest. And so on. The more we spoke to each other, the more clearly I began to understand them. The village was shockingly dingy. Maybe I shouldn't have expected much from a goblin's den. They guided me to what I supposed was the most structurally sound of the buildings. It had a thatched, pitted roof that was rotting away in areas, the walls bearing nothing but a few pieces of flat wood nailed to them. No slum I'd ever seen in my world could outfilth this one. I am sorry to keep you waiting, honored guest, one of the goblins said as he entered. The leader of the expeditionary force I ran into earlier accompanied him. Oh, no need for that, I said, flashing my salesman smile, or in this case, my slime smile. Don't worry about me. I haven't been waiting for that long. I said with a smile. I apologize, we cannot provide you more hospitality, the goblin said as he brought out something resembling tea for me. I am the elder of this village. They are getting me quite good accommodation. Can't believe they are monsters. Well, we can't make any judgment due to prejudice. Thinking back, something like this happened in my previous life too. That person was hated without any of their fault. As I wondered about that, I took a sip of tea. I don't have a sense of taste, so it didn't really matter though. Then I decided to get to the point. So to what do I owe the favor? I asked. What made you decide to invite me over to your village? This had to be more than monsters acting buddy-buddy with each other. Our god has protected the peace in this land for generations, but about a month ago, he hid himself from us. That has allowed the nearby monsters to start meddling with our lands once more. We do not wish to let this continue, so we have fought back, but from a raw power perspective, we face an uphill climb. Elder. Was he talking about Feldera? It would match Timewees. But if the goblins wanted my help, I'm not sure a slime like me can be of any help to you. Grahaha. Trust me, no need for modesty. It is no mere slime who can emit the mystical force you do. I cannot imagine why you are taking that form, but you have a name bestowed upon you, yes. Elder. Mystical, what? What's that? I don't remember busting anything like that out. I focused my magic sense on myself instead of my environs. Then I realized it. There was, in fact, some kind of ominous-looking aura covering my whole body. You'd think I would have noticed that in the midst of all the monster transformation and body armor malarkey, but it was too late now. This is bad. Really bad. But at least it explained how the monsters in the forest reacted to me before now. Not too many of them would have wanted to take on this hombre. No one was stupid enough to be fooled by appearances. Well, might as well run with it. He. Impressive, elder. You noticed. I said, trying to sound arrogant. Of course, my friend. Even in the shape that you are, there is certainly no hiding the strength inside you. Elder said happily. Ah, well done, you have spotted someone like me, then I guess you guys must have a lot of promise. I said while acting like some kind of evil villain. Now I'm diggin' this. Let's just pull the elder's strings for a bit. At the same time, I tried to find a way to extinguish the mystical aura around me, futzing around with the surrounding magic to try to push it back in. Oh, were we being tested, perhaps? Then I certainly hope we are worthy. Many would be cowed to submission by such a force. Elder. By this time, my mystical whatever was mostly hidden. I was back to being just a regular old slime. You're right. Anyone willing to speak to me without being frightened by my mystic powers must be worthy indeed. Worthy how? I wondered to myself silently. Haha, thank you very much. I will refrain from asking you why you hide your true form, but I do have a request of you. Would you be willing to listen to it? It depends on what it is, I said, trying to keep my swagger going. But go ahead, state your business. Here's the summary of what they told me. It turned out some newcomer monsters from the lands to the east had been pushing into the area, hoping to seize it for themselves. The area was home to several goblin villages, including this one, and even the small clashes so far had resulted in a large number of goblin deaths including some named goblins. One of these named creatures was the sort of guardian of this village, and with his death, the value of keeping this village intact had declined dramatically. So in the end other villages abandoned this village. So while newcomers attack this village, it will buy them time to come up with countermeasures of their own. Alright, what types and numbers are we talking about with the enemy? I asked. They are dire wolves, we believe, certainly wolf-like in appearance. Under normal circumstances, it would have to be 10 of us against one of them for us to have a fighting chance, but they appear to number around 100 themselves while we have approximately 100 residents. Counting our womenfolk, about 60 of them are ready to fight. Replied Elder. So these goblin fighters took them on in such small numbers, even though they knew they couldn't win. I asked. No, this information I told you. Those fighters risked their lives to obtain it. Elder. Upon further questioning, the named goblin they'd lost turned out to be both the elder's son and the older brother of the scouting party. I spent a moment weighing the options, the elder falling silent as he awaited my decision. Let's get something straight, Elder. If I help this village, what do I get in return? Do you even have anything to give? I wasn't being harsh, okay? I just wanted some information about this world. But if I ask them directly it won't be proper negotiations. It should be more like each party trying to get as much as profits from another. I will help them even if they have nothing to give, since this happened because Feldera disappeared. And I was the reason Feldera disappeared. It will leave bad taste in my mouth if I left to die despite it being my fault. We shall give you our allegiance. Please, grant us your guardianship. If you do, I promise we will swear our loyalty to you. The elder said with the eyes of someone who is relying on me to say the right thing. I reflected on my past life. When someone was in trouble and I can help them, I always did it. Even if I bitched and moaned about it at first, I was never able to say no to anyone who is in trouble. All right, don't worry, I will protect you. I said with a kind voice as much as I can to reassure the elder. Sniff, sniff, thank you very much. We promise we will never forget such kindness, said the elder while crying with tears of joy. Elder kneeled down on knees followed by all the other goblin. Then all of them shouted in unison, we pledge our allegiance to you, Rimuru-sama. Oh. Suddenly I heard a loud howl indicating the beginning of a battle in a goblin village. Note, well, there aren't many big changes than the original yet. Since it's just the beginning of the story, well, there are some minor changes which will shape the personality of characters. Like in this chapter we can see Rimuru is a lot more kinder. The story will continue like this, well, it will have some minor changes and some information which is linked to future events. If I have to put a teaser, there might be a new character which will significantly affect the story. I am looking forward to that super important character. Can you make any guess what kind of characters will it be? That's all, thank you for reading. Hope you enjoy the story. Ch. 5, Battle of the Goblin Village. Oh. Suddenly I heard a loud howl indicating the beginning of a battle in a goblin village. I ran or more like bounced towards the entrance of the village. Once I reached entrance I can see a pack of dire wolves running towards us. They stopped about 100 before reaching the entrance. In front of 100 dire wolves. After seeing this, goblins behind were trembling out of fear. They were so scared they can't even move. In a way it is good thing I don't have to worry about them. There was a single dire wolf which far more stronger than other. It must be the alpha. Alright, stop where you are, okay. I said to them. If you turn back now, I promise I won't do anything to you. Move away from here at once. Anyone who refused to comply I will kill him. As said that, it seems instead of running away they got angry and around 40 dire wolves ran towards me at full speed. Alpha stayed behind probably to gauge our strength. Well, I did say anyone who refused to comply will be killed, so before those wolves reach me I started barrage of water blade. I focused on their weak point and started kill them one by one in single hit. Within a few moments all of 40 dire wolves were killed. Everyone was in a disbelief. No one moved a single inch. I am sure dire wolves were worried about a new opponent who killed 40 of their kind. My eyes were still firmly upon the dire wolf alpha. After a few moments to the goblins, he had disappeared, I assumed, but to me, he was ambling along at a yawn-worthy pace. Everything was going to plan. I had considered a few possible outcomes, and now one of them was playing out in front of me. These were animals, after all, not ex-human like me. As dire wolf's alpha reached near me he jumped. He moved his blade-like claws towards me intending to cut me in half, but before he can do that, without moment of self-doubt, I launched a water blade at the alpha's head. It hit home. The head launched upward, and then gravity took it. I had killed the alpha and more importantly, I made it look like a laugh. Listen, dire wolves. Your leader is dead. I will grant you one final choice. Submit to me or die. So how will they deal with that? Will their alpha's death drive them into such a frenzy that they'll bum rush me? I'd like to avoid that, if I could. I don't enjoy killing. But the remaining dire wolves showed no sign of moving. Oh, this isn't gonna be one of those I'd sooner die than submit to the likes of you things, is it? 'Cause if it is, it's gonna be all-out war. I doubted we'd lose at this point, but I'd prefer it ended without a struggle. I was at the alpha's limp body. Nobody offered any objection. Then I swallowed the corpse. As was my right as victor, yeah. The Raphael's voice rang in my mind. Analysis complete. Mimic, dire wolf ability obtained. Dire wolf intrinsic skills, keen smell, thought communication, and coercion acquired. Activating coercion, I spoke to them in a loud, guttural scream. Arharhar. Listen to me. I declared to them. Once, and only once, I will let this go unpunished. If you refuse to obey me, I bid you to leave here at once. Figured that'd be enough to make these dogs scamper off. I was wrong. We pledge our allegiance to you. Huh, what? Now they were kowtowing to me, although it looked more as if they were having a lie down for a nap. But regardless, they had apparently chosen submit anyway. Maybe they'd been having a little thought communication conference about it while they were standing there like statues. It beats having to fight them, anyway. That, more or less, marked the official end of the battle at this goblin village. That's always the thing, though, isn't it? It's not the fight that's the hard part, it's all the goddamn cleanup afterward. Screw it. That's all for today, people. I'll think about it tomorrow, once everyone wakes up. For the time being, I ordered the dogs to go on standby around the village, and called it a night. Morning came. I had spent the previous night thinking, mostly. The conclusion I came up with, let the goblins take care of the dire wolves. Perfect. I had healed the goblin who got injured in battle before I came to the village. They were all in rougher shape than I'd thought, skin slashed by teeth and claws, and some were sporting nasty-looking gashes with God knows what growing out of them. Consuming the wounded goblin closest to me, I sprayed some recovery potion on him, then hawked him back up. The elder prepared to say something to me, but he thought better of it as I worked my way down the row, swallowing, splattering, spitting out. We had a total of 72 goblins left in fighting shape. No casualties from yesterday. Meanwhile, we had 81 surviving dire wolves parked outside the town fence, some wounded, but none so badly that a little recovery potion didn't prop them right back up. They could have recovered themselves, I reckoned, with their intrinsic healing skills. The morning began with me lining up the goblins who were awake. The children and elderly watched from the side. Next to me was the village elder. He wanted to help me out somehow, I guess, but there wasn't much an old goblin geezer could do for me. My personal aesthetic tastes remained unchanged from my human years. That would never change, even though I was transmogrified into a slime. There would be no charming village princess I could ride off into the sunset with. I'd probably have to wait a while for that. In front of this line of goblins, I summoned the dire wolves. Okay, I began. From now on, I'm gonna have you all form pairs and live with each other, all right. The moment I finished speaking, the goblins and the dire wolves began exchanging glances with whoever was in front of them. Slowly and meekly, they followed my order. Yesterday's enemy is today's friend, and all that. They had to learn that the hard way, but at least everyone was on board. Then I noticed something. Hang on, do any of these guys have names at all? How are they supposed to call for each other and stuff? What a pain in the ass. Elder, I said as I watched the pairing process unfold to my side, it's too inconvenient for me to refer to you and your people. I'd like to give names to you all. Would that be all right? Everyone must have heard me somehow. Right at the word names, every single one of them was locked on to me, even the non-fighting goblins, clearly thrown by this turn of events. Are you sure? The elder timidly asked. What's the big deal, huh? Why yeah, if it's not a problem, I'd like to give out some names. It was as if I'd simultaneously blown the minds of every goblin on the premises. Each one erupted into enthusiastic cheering. What the hell? It's as if they all just hit the lottery or something. If getting a name makes you that happy, why don't you just do it yourselves? It all seemed so simple to me back then. I started with the elder, asking him what his son's name was. He had been the sole named goblin in the village, now sadly passed. It was Rigur, apparently. So I added AD on the end and named the elder Rigurd. No particular reason for it, just sounded nice. If your son was here, I joked, you could have him state his name and just kinda add D to the end of it, YC. No one laughed. They thought I was serious. I cannot express my gratitude enough, he blubbered, for being granted permission to take on my son's name. Yeah, great. I'm just shooting from the hip here, you know. It was starting to make me feel a bit guilty, but what the hell. The goblin scout leader, meanwhile, I named Rigur. I could have added a 2 to the end of it, I suppose, but why make this more complicated than it had to be? Rigur was fine. Fine enough that it made him kneel before me in prayer, as if this was the most emotional moment in his life. Sir Rimuru, the newly christened Rigurd plaintively asked, we are so appreciative of this, but, are you sure? About what? I mean, I am fully aware of the extent of your magical powers, Sir Rimuru, but, providing all of these names in one go, will you be alright? What's he talking about? I'm just handing out names to folks, I replied. No, no problem, I don't think. Then I went back to it. Rigurd raised his eyebrows for a moment, but I paid him no further mind. Once I was done with the goblins, it was time to move on to the dire wolves. Their new leader would be the son of the old one, just as strong and strong-willed as his father, and already looking every bit as stately. Peering into his gold-colored eyes, I thought for a moment, how about Ranga? That combines the Japanese characters for storm and fong into one peppy little word. Perfect. Cheap, maybe, but I rolled with it. I'm the Tempest, he's got fangs. Whatever came to mind first was best, I figured. This wasn't my forte. The moment I named him Ranga, I began to feel as if practically all the magicules flowing through my body were draining out of it. The sense of hollowness, of the violent emptying of my innards was mind-blowing. What's going on? It was a fatigue like none I'd felt before. Reporting. Your body's remaining store of magic has gone below its acceptable threshold. Entering sleep mode. Expected to fully recover in 3 days. Finally, the 3rd day passed. Recovered. Despite depleting my magic earlier, I felt stronger and more magic-rich than I had before my little accident. Magic was the power to exert force upon the world, and the particles around me were the energy driving it. That seemed to be about the extent of it. Realizing I was awake, goblins began congregating around me. They were joined by the dire wolves, who were streaming in from their outside base. Which was fine, but, hey, guys, have you all, gotten bigger? Notice. Due to naming monsters are evolved. Really? They changed so much, and check out the wolves. I remembered them being a lot browner. Now their fur was straight on black, with a lustrous sheen. They had grown, too, with the bigger ones now pushing 9 or 10 feet in length. I didn't remember any of them being much longer than 6 feet before. My master, how it elats me to see you well once more. Holy, is this Ranga? What happened over the past 3 days? I was left to wonder that for myself as the cheering, howling monsters surrounded me. Monster evolution happens fast. I'd say they didn't grow so much as become completely different creatures. The tepid, void-like eyes of the goblins now shone brightly with the pale light of intelligence. And the females. Yow, they actually kind of look like women now. It made me literally do a double take. These guys were like little imps a moment ago, maybe closer to baboons than humans, and now, well, to use their official terminology, the males were hobgoblins and the females goblinas, although the latter sounded pretty stupid to me. They had both evolved, and according to Rigurd, they had heard the so-called world language when they did something that all evolved creatures experienced. A very rare occurrence, and one that excited Rigurd to no end, judging by how he couldn't shut up about it. This wasn't entirely a happy thing for me, though. The female goblins had covered their entire bodies in rags before. Now, thanks to their evolution, the skimpy clothing allowed one to see certain things. There would be no brushing them off now. The males certainly seemed happy about it, even though they were wearing nothing but loincloths themselves. The village was in desperate need of food, clothing, and shelter. Better start with clothing first, I figured. The biggest issue of all, however, was where the heck we were gonna keep all these guys. The wolf-hobgob pairs seemed to be sharing households with each other by now, not that they had houses, so it was really more the hobs using the wolves as blankets. The lack of clothing was killing me, but housing also needed some attention. So, what now? I gathered the entire population around me. We had a heap of issues to tackle, but I had something even more important to tell them. We needed to hammer out the rules of this village. At the core, I had 3 rules in mind, 3 guiding principles I wanted to be sure to have them follow. Everything else, I imagined they could figure out. Everyone here? All right. I have some rules to give to you. 3, to be exact. The bare minimum I want all of you to follow. And so I laid out my standards. 1. Do not attack human beings. 2. Do not fight among your friends. 3. Do not look down upon other species. That's pretty much it. Stick to those rules as much as you can, all right. I figured I'd leave the assignment details to Rigurd. Rigurd, I hereby appoint you Goblin Lord. It will be your job to keep this village well run and well governed. In other words, I tossed everything onto his lap. As hard as possible. I was expecting some blowback, but, why yes, Sir Rimuru. I promise you that I, Rigurd, will devote myself body and soul to this vital post. He was sobbing tears of joy again. Fair enough. Let the king reign, not govern. Or at least let him bark out orders now and then, and leave him alone otherwise. Now we don't have to worry about food since we can gather fruit from forest and hunt animals for meat. Problem is clothing, shelter. So I asked Rigurd about it, and answer was, yes. There are some people I know that we've had dealings with several times. Perhaps they could supply clothing that could fit our needs. In fact, with their skills, they might know how to build homes as well. I see, I replied. It wouldn't hurt to talk to them. What did you pay them with, though? Money? No, Sir Rimuru. We do have some currency that we confiscated from adventurers, but that remains in storage. Instead, we have obtained the materials we need via either barter or short-term work. Rigurd. Oh, so who are these guys? Rimuru. They are known as dwarves. Rigurd. Dwarves. The infamous smithing race. I gotta check them out. And while the loincloth crisis had captured most of my attention, something had to be done about their defensive capabilities. Their armor provided no more protection than tatters and they couldn't even use it, because it didn't fit anymore. It was certainly an issue, and tackling it right now would be killing two birds with one stone. I'll try visiting them. Can you make the arrangements for me, Rigurd? Rimuru. Of course, Sir Rimuru. I'll have everything for your journey by tomorrow afternoon. As he'd so boldly proclaimed a day earlier, Rigurd had everything I needed that afternoon. He had even chosen the team members for my expedition into the Dwarven Kingdom already. Once I picked up my luggage, Ranga eagerly allowed me onto his back. I boinged myself up and nestled into his fur. There was a lot more fuzz than I'd thought, and it sure did wonders for comfort. I braced my body with sticky thread to keep from falling. Not having any arms or legs was a real pain at times like these, but at least I had the skills to do something about it. Gotta use the tools you have on hand. I had actually been practicing a bit with my silk during the off hours. I want to recreate an attack where I use my silk to use lightning quick whip strike and cut my enemy before they know what cut them. I didn't know if I could yet, exactly, but I had time. Practice makes perfect. For a goblin on foot, it would apparently take around 2 months to walk to the Dwarven Kingdom. We would be largely following the Great Ameld River, which flowed through the forest, up to its source in a mountain range that held the settlement we sought. The kingdom was situated at the base of the mountains, in the upper reaches of the Great Ameld, a beautiful hub of civilization, by the sound of it, built into a gigantic natural cavern. That was the Dwarven Kingdom. So we followed the plan, tracing the Great Ameld River's route northward. It certainly kept us from getting lost. I had a map in my brain anyway, just in case. We had a guide with us, Gobda, who apparently ran a trip of his own to the kingdom once, so we followed his lead, and I took up the rear. We wound up running, and running some more for around half the day. Talk about tough. As the group took their evening meal at the end of the second day, I decided to ask Gobda about the Dwarven Kingdom we were headed toward. Why yes, sir. It is officially known as the Armed Nation of Dworgen. Their leader is known as the Heroic King, and dash. According to Gobda's account, the current king was Gazel Dwargo, third in his line from the original. A great hero, one whose might and presence made the elder dwarves recall his grandfather in his younger years, but also an intelligent one who ruled his realm with a steady, even hand. A living hero, in a way. It had been 1,000 years since Gurin Dwargo, the first heroic king of the dwarves, established this kingdom. Since then, his descendants had carried on his will, preserving and developing his people's history, culture, and technical skill. The way the Dwarven Kingdom was starting to sound from these conversations, I couldn't wait to arrive. Exactly 3 days after we began our journey, we reached the grasslands at the foot of the Cainots. The city truly was beautiful, chiseled into the vast mountain cavern, a natural fortress created by nature. It was the armed nation of Dworgen in all its mighty glory. Note: point out if you find any mistakes. Thank you for reading. Ch. 6. Armed Nation of Dworgen. It was the armed nation of Dworgen in all its mighty glory. The front gate was enormous, built to block free entry into the vast cave opening. Guess we're really here, huh? A nearby traveler ventured as I scanned the line of people down the corridor. That's a fancy gate. Maybe the dwarves of this world weren't the kind, gentle, almost lovable beings I was picturing. They could be a lot more violent than that, for all I knew. Still, as a free city and a hub of trade across races and species, it maintained at least a public face of neutrality. The fact that the heroic king never allowed combat inside the city was fairly common knowledge among adventurers. I suppose that even in this world, you could afford to be neutral only if you had the muscle to back it up. As I mused over this, I began hearing some more sinister voices. Hey, check it out, there are monsters out here. We can kill them, right? We aren't inside yet. Yeah, what the hell were you guys standing in line for? You think we're gonna let Cha do that, you little runts? Gimme your spot before we kill you. And leave your crap there, too, alright? Then we'll let Cha go. A bunch of loinclothed goblins riding gigantic wolves would have been bound to stir up at least a little attention, and not the good kind, so I decided to go in solo with my guide. Rigur had wanted to join me, but I'd turned him down. Yo, you think you runts got a right to ignore us? Hey, isn't a talking slime pretty rare? Maybe we could get some money out of selling it. The adventurers kept yapping at us. People maybe could have said I had the patience of a saint back home, but this was starting to irk me. Gobda, you remember the rules I gave you all before? Rimuru. Why yes, sir. Absolutely. Gobda. Good. In that case, could you close your eyes and cover your ears for me? No peeking. Rimuru. Alright, but. Gobda. Right. Laying out some simple rules for my people, then promptly violating every single one of them 3 days later wouldn't exactly make me a role model. But with Gobda out of my hair, I was free once more to take out the garbage. A black mist sprayed out from my body, shrouding it completely. When it cleared, a different monster stood there instead. A black wolf. Form, Tempest Star Wolf. Ha, I don't care how badass you look. You're still a runty goddamn piss slime to me. Adventurer 1. You think that was enough to freak us out? Come on, man. Adventurer 2. With an earth-shaking roar, I invoked it, but, alas, I screwed it up. I didn't mean for the audience to faint to the ground, too, with assorted substances welling up around their pants. What a disaster. Now what? This'll be such a pain to deal with. The party. Well, they had just taken a coercion blow at point-blank range. I doubt I need to go into detail on what happened to them. My magic sense skill started picking up on the dwarven security force running our way. It's over, I whispered. Over, indeed. I looked down at them, wondering how they were ever going to clean up their undergarments after this, trying to keep my new reality at bay for just a few more moments. I'm really sorry about this. Rimuru. I bowed deeply, or intended to, anyway. Inside the guard room. After the ruckus we had caused, there was no way security was going to let the lot of us off with a slap on the wrist. After only a few moments, a squadron of guards was surrounding us. Well, me, really, given how unconscious the other 5 were. I know, I thought. I'll just turn into a slime and slink off. And I tried to. But before I could move, they grabbed me en masse and, squish, lifted me up. So much for that. W8. I shouted, doing my best frenzied Gobta impression. We didn't do anything. We're the victims here. Rimuru. All right, came the smiling reply. We'll hear you out in the guard room. Can't expect to run off after that, now can you? Guard. So here's what happened. 1. I got accosted. 2. I turned into a wolf. 3. I kind of howled a little. Whatcha think? Not my fault, right? I thought as I glanced at the soldier standing above me. Guard who took us here, his name is Kaido. He was questioning me about what happened. After hearing my answer, he was still smiling at me. The expression suited this gruff, friendly-looking dwarf and his long, bushy beard. Except for those unfortunate veins popping out of his forehead. Why did you take me along with you, officer? Rimuru. You damned fool. What do you think you're saying? Our chiefs are yelling at us because you were accosted. Kaido. What? Really? I'm sorry. I've messed up again, haven't I? Rimuru. Well, there's nothing to be done about it this time, but try to be a bit more careful, alright? Kaido. Phew. Guess they finally saw the light. Good thing my blame everyone else skill from my human years was still going strong. It was an advanced ability, earned only after years of life experience. The key was to never give your foe a single moment to doubt you. It was hard. So what was that wolf, then? The soldier watching over me asked. What's he mean, what is it? Kaido. The species, you mean? It's Rimuru. No, not the name. What I mean is, why did that kind of monster show up around here? Where'd it come from, where'd it go? I wanna hear everything you know. Kaido. I told him that was just mimicry. He didn't believe me. I thought I was pretty open with him. I knew it was standard procedure for a hero to hide his secret identity, but I wasn't exactly a hero anyway. Well, I told you. That was just me transformed. Rimuru. Huh. Look, it's already rare for a slime to talk, and you want me to add shape-shifting to the package, too. Kaido. No, I mean. Look, would you like me to show you? Rimuru. Nah, it's fine. But if you can shape-shift, how is that possible? You're a slime, aren't you? Kaido. Wait, how should I answer that? I don't think he'd buy it if I just said it's an intrinsic. Or whatever. That'd just put me on the same level as Gobta. Think, man. You gotta come up with a decent excuse, now. Well, to put it simply, I was actually cursed. I'm capable of wielding illusory magic. Rimuru. Oh, really? A curse, is it? Then what? Kaido. Then, well, I know a few illusory spells, but I was still just a student at the time, so, this evil mage turned me into a slime. I'm on a journey to find a way to undo the curse, and, that's pretty much it. Rimuru. Why'd you run into an evil wizard, then? Why'd he curse you instead of just killing you? Kaido. NNNGH. This would go a lot easier if you'd just believe me, man. You don't have to be so obstinate about it. Though I guess I'd be, too. If he actually bought my story, that'd make him more gullible than a goblin. This little back and forth between me and the soldier went on for another few hours or so. By the end of our intensive debate, I had just about an entire novel's worth of backstory. A story about a forlorn young and beautiful princess had a wish granted by an evil mage, and as a payment brutally transformed into a slime by an evil mage. In the midst of our tit-for-tat, if you want to call it that, the soldier's questions helped me weave a grand story of heroic tragedy in my mind. I was a young prodigy, a girl inherently gifted in the arts of transformation and illusory magic. A cruel witch had cast a terrible spell on me, and I was traveling to rid myself of the curse. Why did this have to happen? And why did I turn myself into a magical girl along the way? And the worst part of it was, whenever I said something that wandered off script, the soldier's next question would help me fix the mistake. Oh, right. I'd say to myself as the tale meandered its merry way down the path. By the end of it, both myself and the soldier were enthralled, hoping against hope that the girl would somehow succeed on her quest. Our eyes burned with passion, at least, his did. Truly, we had a connection that went beyond mere words. All right, that's it for the report. Thank you for your cooperation. But we're going to need to dash, Kaido. Slam. Before the soldier could finish, the large door behind him opened. Another soldier rushed in. "Yes, sir. An Armosaurus just showed up in the mines. It's already injured several miners at their posts." Guard. What? Well, did you defeat it? Kaido. We're good there. A suppression force is on its way, but some of the miners are fairly roughed up. I don't know if there's a war underway or something, but the city shops are out of medicine, and the castle won't let us access their stockpile. Guard. Ah, damn it all. Kaido. Sir. Rimuru. What? I'm busy. I'm done with you for now, but I can't let you go yet. Stay in this room until things calm down a little. Kaido. No, not that, I've got this. Guard. I took a recovery potion out. Or spat it out, is the way he probably saw it. What's that? Guard. A recovery potion. Drink it, rub it in, its high quality. Rimuru. We've got 6 men down, but are you sure? Kaido. I can't ignore someone who is in need of help, I said honestly. Rimuru. TCH. Stay here, alright? Let's go. Kaido. But, Captain, that's a monster. Guard. Enough from you, just take me over to them. Kaido. The bushy-bearded captain snatched up the 6 recovery potions I provided and ran off. With the grand fantasy tale we'd just woven, I supposed I had gained his trust somewhat. Maybe he was a nice guy after all. Didn't expect him to be a full-fledged captain, though. Is it over? Gobda asked after silently nodding at everything I'd said before now. No, but I guess we'll sit here and see what happens. Rimuru. Got it, sir. Gobda. Then we stared into space. The soldiers who peeked in on occasion would give us confused looks, but otherwise, not much happened for an hour. I was practicing my sticky thread moves a bit when I heard the captain's heavy footsteps. The silken whip zipped back into my body as I waited for him to come in. Gobda was asleep, proving that maybe he was smarter than I was all along. Thank you, sir. The bearded Captain Kaido thundered as he stormed into the room, head bowed. The miners filed in behind him. You're the one with the potions. Thanks a ton. My arm was pretty torn up. I didn't think I'd ever work again, even if I survived. Thank you. The last guy didn't say anything before they all left, but I was fairly sure he was thankful, too. Glad to see the potions worked. By this time, it was past sunset. It was almost fully dark outside when the captain started talking with me again seriously, this time. The guard was already certain that we were guilty of nothing, but I was still being detained out of respect for the other victims I had inadvertently inconvenienced with my actions. Nobody was pressing charges, though I suppose they figured asking restitution for crapping their pants wasn't the shrewdest of social moves. So I told him the truth. I was helping rebuild a goblin village, and we needed arms and clothing, as well as someone who could provide a little on-site guidance. The captain listened intently, some of his men chiming in on occasion. They even asked Gobda a few questions, despite his darting eyes and bewildered expression. The next day, the captain checked in. All right, he said, you're free to go. Sorry I kept you in here for so long. I was beholden to keep you overnight, at least. Apologies. Oh, no. It saved me one night's hotel cost, at least. Rimuru. Glad you see it that way. Here, let me make it up to you. I can introduce you to a talented blacksmith I know. Kaido. That would be perfect. Thank you. Rimuru. In exchange for that. Kaido. A catch. The only catches I ever liked were the ones on porn sites. If you have any of those recovery potions left, would you be interested in letting go of them? Kaido. Why not? I had a manufacturing cost of exactly 0 on those things anyway. If he wanted some, he could have some. All right, I replied. It'll depend on how many, though. I need to keep a few for myself, too. Rimuru. Any extras you're willing to part with are fine by me, even if it's just one. Kaido. Rather odd way of putting it, isn't it? I thought he was trying to rebuild the guard's stockpile. One's not going to be enough in a pinch, is it? It feels like he is buying a super rare winter edition anime girl figure which he could never buy again if he missed it. Well, whatever. Okay, well, how about 5, then? Rimuru. 5. That'd be wonderful. Kaido. I know it's not much, he explained, but I hope you'll accept this. I'll give you 5 gold pieces for each one of these. If I could, Rimuru. Not enough. I'm doing my best here, sir. Kaido. I'm sorry to admit it, but I'm not exactly sure what this money is worth, or what prices are even like around here. If you could give me some guidance, that would really help. Rimuru. We wound up having a long conversation before Gobda and I set off. Soon, I was out in the fresh air of freedom again, but not before lunch. The captain insisted. I couldn't taste anything, but the appreciation was sweet. I guess, for the first time in a while, I enjoyed a meal. Yo, you in there? Shouted the Captain Kaido, as it happened. As we had conversed, we'd grown friendlier and friendlier with each other. We were on a first-name basis now, and it turned out his older brother was in charge of the shop we were visiting. It was a cozy place, the kind where you'd expect the owner to be a gruff old man behind the counter. "Hello, Kaido. Excuse us," I said as I followed Kaido in. The moment we entered, we felt several dubious gazes upon us. The 3 miners who had thanked me for saving them yesterday lifted their eyebrows high. They looked right as rain, but their expressions weren't exactly jubilant. "What do you want? You know these guys." "Kaijin, this is it. The slime. The one who saved us." "Miner. Yeah, it sure is. And you're our boss's brother, aren't you, Captain?" "Miner. Rimuru. Oh ho, the slime, you say. We were just talking about you. Thanks for getting these guys out of a bad way yesterday." "Kaijin. Oh, no, it was nothing. I just gave you some of extra potion I had at that time, Rimuru." "So," the old guy said, rearing back a bit, "what brings you here today?" "Kaijin." I decided to go into full detail. We all piled into seats situated deeper inside, and Kaido was kind enough to provide a quick recap for me. I added a few choice details, and things moved along at a good pace. "All right," the old guy answered. "I understand, but what do you want?" "I can't do anything for you. I've got a job from a certain country I gotta deal with, too." None of this leaves the room, but, Kaijin. Then it was his turn to talk, deliberately leaving out some of the finer details, as it was all classified. Basically, a number of countries were sending out orders for weapons and armor, spooked that a certain idiot nation might be trying to hatch a war on them all. It connected to why the guard was out of medicine yesterday, as well as the lack of raw materials plaguing the shops. "So what kind of material you need?" I asked. "I need special ore for the swords," the old guy spat out. "Magic ore." "Kaijin. And that's not the half of it. It takes a full day to complete even one of those swords. Even if I built an assembly line and streamlined everything I could, it'd still take me 2 weeks to make 20, Kaijin. I have until the end of this week." He groaned. "First thing next week, I'm charged with delivering them to the king. It's a task for the kingdom, and every shop has been asked to do the same. If I can't, they could strip my artisan's license from me, Kaijin." Hang on, did he say magic ore? I have some of that, don't I? Not that it matters. The next time I looked up, I realized that everyone was looking at me. I don't like all these dudes staring at me, you know. Who do they think a slime is, anyway? Whatever. Time to fling a few serious favors around. They better help me get that goblin village going later. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, hey ha ha ha, what a trivial issue. Old man, you think you could use this? Rimuru, wait, whoa, that's magic ore. And, my god, look at how pure it is. Kaijin, ha, not magic ore, man. Already processed it for ya. That's a hunk of pure magisteel. Come on, old man, your eyes giving out on you. I asked. If they couldn't even see what this metal was, they couldn't have been worth much. What? No, it can't be. This entire piece is magisteel. Kaijin, he finally noticed. His shock surprised me a bit. You'll let me have this? I mean, I'll pay the going price for it, of course. Kaijin, ha ha ha, gotcha. Oh, about that, Rimuru. NGGH, what do you want? I'll do anything I can for this. Kaijin, now that's what I wanted to hear. You heard what me and my team are up to, right? I need your help finding someone who'll travel to the village and give us some technical guidance. And connection to clothing and weapons supplier and armor too. Rimuru, if that's all it is, then of course. Kaijin, and so old man Kaijin and I forged a verbal contract for the hunk of magisteel. We agreed to iron out the details after his work was done. Judging by his reaction, I probably could have wrung him for a little more, but no point being too greedy. Whenever I tried that, it always blew up in my face. Even I learn from my mistakes sometimes. Kaido took his leave after we all finished with dinner. Guess the captain of the border guard can afford to skip work all afternoon. Nice of him to bring me here, though. The 3 dwarf brothers took turns thanking me profusely yet again. They felt a bit out of place, no doubt, and at fault for the government's toying around with Kaijin. So why not come along with us? I asked. Their jaws dropped. Then they started discussing it with each other. To me, that sounded like the best thing for their predicament. The next day, even though he had all the materials he needed, that deadline still looked impossible to me. Time to come out with it. Hey, Kaijin can get one of the sword you made for order. I think I can help you with that order, I told Kaijin, Rimuru. So I can trust you. Because if I can't, you better not expect payment for that magisteel. I won't be able to take care of myself, much less cover you. You keep your promise, though, I swear I'll keep mine. I'll give you the best swordsmith this kingdom has. Kaijin, we have a deal. And promises are made to be kept. So Kaijin and his team had crafted this lovely sword for me, as promised. Now it was my turn. First, take this completed sample, and swallow it up. Next, take the rest of the ingredients lined up here, and swallow them up, too. Munch, munch, gulp. Mix well in your stomach, and, notice. Analysis target, longsword. Successful. Creating copy. Successful. Repeat 19 times. Bon appetit. Easy, wasn't it? Kids, don't try this at home. I had 19 swords scattered around the room. It had been maybe a minute since Kaijin gave me a sword. Everyone. Guess I can't blame them. I did take out 19 swords which might have taken Kaijin 2 weeks in a minute. Note, thank you for reading. Ch7 Rimuru became elf. Cheers. We were at a kind of dwarven nightclub, holding a rather anticlimactic wrap-up party. The weapons were safely in the king's hands, and it was time to celebrate. I mean, I told them they didn't have to. Ah, come on. There's lots of beautiful elves in there. Garm was the eldest of 3 brothers, an armor crafter with long, muscular arms. Yeah. Young ones, and older, too, if you like a little weathering on. It's the perfect place for any gentleman. Dold was middle child, who was known around the kingdom for his intricate handiwork. Mildo, the youngest, rarely spoke but was skillful at almost anything he did, architecture, art, you name it. A sort of savant. Come on, Rimuru. We can't go out without the big guy himself. Kaijin. Elves. Well, if you insist that much, I have no choice but to come with you, Rimuru. Raphael. It was 4 against 1, I had no choice. Mind you, I only agreed because they insisted. My heart is pure. I definitely didn't thought about meeting those SE. Yep, my heart is pure. Raphael, you should trust me more. I am a perfect gentleman. The place was called the Night Butterfly. Ooh, welcome. Welcome, sirs. For the place was lined up and down with babes. Woah. Their ears were so long, too. Is it hot in here, or is it just those elves? Dang. Oh my god. And their clothes are so thin. It's like I can almost see through, but I can't. Damn it, and I got magic sense going at max force, too. They've got the boundaries of their clothing down pat, don't they? Is this meant to be some kind of challenge? NNNNGH. Oh, look at you, cutie. Ah, I saw him first. Eep. Boing. Boing. There it is. My entire body is jiggling, and I can feel something soft jiggling against my back, too. Is this paradise, or what? Notice, you are enjoying it quite a lot, master. Ack. Oh, no. I didn't mean to, Raphael-san. Hello. I instinctive called her with honorific, but she didn't respond. What's with her? Is she sulking? Okay. I am sorry I got excited a little. I mean a lot. Sorry. Raphael-san, you know me right, I always get excited fast, right? Beside, this is my first time seeing elf. So, I got excited. Please forgive me. Pretty please, with, cherry on top or something. I apologized while stuttering. Sigh. Phew. Well, Raphael finally forgave me. As I was apologizing, the elf who picked me up before put me on her lap sat on the sofa along with other elves and dwarves. After a while of drinking and talking, another elf asked me, Hey Mr. Slime, want to play this? An elf with black hair and dark skin asked me while holding the crystal ball. Is she intending to see my fortune? Like my love life? Or who am I going to end up with? Or something? What are you going to foretell for me? I asked curiously. Then the elf whose lap I am sitting on interjected, How about Mr. Slime's fated person? Fated person? Does such a person exist? I already gave up on some human women falling for me. If such a person exists, she may be into some freaky stuff. Like, you know me right. I am a slime. So, no, that kind of person only exists on the internet. There is no way someone like that exists in the real world. It probably show nothing. Or maybe I find ms.slime or something. As I was wondering. It appeared. Elf. I hurriedly looked at the crystal ball. Is it my wife, I wonder? Mind you, I wasn't excited. As I looked at the crystal ball, I saw a beautiful woman who looked exactly my type. A young woman of average height with black eyes and black hair, as well as red burn scars under one of her eyes. She was with a bunch of children. It looked like children were sad. Also, that woman kinda looks like Japanese. Maybe she is otherworlder too. Boy, don't tell me that person is rulers of explosive flames Shizue Izawa. Kaijin. Is she famous or something? I asked Kaijin. She is the hero of the Adventure Guild. You know, even though she looks like a youthful girl, she is already active for a few dozen years. Kaijin answered. Hero. Is that show Feldera did told me a lot about heroes. Well, I think about it later, but there is something important I have to do first. Now you showed me your talent, I have something to show too. Do you want to see it? I want to see it, said one of the elf enthusiastically. Kaijin and others gave me interested glance. I suppose they want to see too. Great. To do that trick I want a volunteer. I said. I can be a volunteer, said one of the elf. She looked mature type. With blonde long hair. Okay, so follow me, I told her, and went in front of everyone so all of them, so they can see me. The elf stood next to me. Then I ate her. That sounded wrong in so many ways. It's more like I absorbed her. Everyone. Rimuru, what are you doing? Kaijin asked, surprised and worried at the same time. Why did I do that? Well, when I killed and mimicked the snake in the cave, I asked Raphael if there was a ways to mimic human, and Raphael said. Received. It is possible to mimic human being by absorbing it, just like snake, Raphael. In another world I have to kill human first. Rimuru. Affirmative. Predator works by absorbing living or dead. Then broke them apart to analyze them, making it possible to mimic. Raphael. Well, I want human form, but I don't want to kill anyone for it. Is there any other way without killing anyone? Rimuru. Report. There is, but it will be less effective and temporary. Raphael. Temporary. How? Rimuru. Report. It will use magicules to retain itself. So if I take human form this way, I will turn back to slime as soon as I run out of magicules? And does that mean I can be able to turn back again if I recover magicules? Rimuru. Affirmative. Raphael. Well, it should be fine. So how can I do it? Rimuru. By using unique skill Predator's mimic and stomach skill along with unique skill Mathane's copy skill. How did it work? Rimuru. Received. By using a copy skill to copy the physical composition of a living organism, encompassing all its anatomical parts and systems. Then using a skill mimic to mimic it. Since this method uses two different sub-skills of different skill, it is less effective, making it temporary. Unlike mimic through Predator, where it is possible to maintain form permanently. So back to the current time, I used a Predator to absorb her, then used Mathane's copy skill to copy her bodily structure. It took only a moment. After that, before anyone starts to think I killed her, I let her out of my stomach. What happened? Surprised. The elf I consumed asked. Don't worry, it was part of my performance. It won't harm you in any way. I said to reassure everyone. Everyone took sighs of relief. I bet they thought I ate her. Can't blame them, no matter how cute harmless slime I am. In the end I am a monster. Now I finally analyzed her and I can now become an elf. Ha ha ha, I laugh internally. Now look closely, it's time to show my magic trick, I said. Transform. As I shouted that, I used a mimic puff of smoke formed around me and I transformed. As the smoke cleared, there I was now, a beautiful elf. To be clear, I am not a trap. I am a certified female now. Why? Because Mathane's skill copied everything, including her memory, skill and gender too. Now you might be wondering why. If I ended up copying gender too, shouldn't I copy a male? Before you label me a perverted, let me be clear, there are mainly two very important reasons. 1. I just can't absorb anyone. If I try, they will think I am a hostile monster. And I will be killed immediately. Since everyone in Night Butterfly was friendly and Kaijin booked the entire nightclub, there wasn't anyone else. 2. If I have to transform, I would rather be a beautiful woman than be a ugly man. In future, if I find any handsome man like me, self-proclaimed, in my past life, I will use mimic on him. But until then I have to work with this. What? Everyone shouted. The elf whom I copied was most surprised out of all. Era, surprised, I said while I winked at them. Yup. As I said before, I copied everything including memories, so obviously I can act like women too. Everyone let out surprised yelp. After a while of surprise, I was bombarded with questions like, how did I do it? Was that illusion magic? How? Slime like me do something like that? Etc. Well, to put it simply, I was actually cursed. I'm capable of wielding illusory magic. After that I told them the same story which I told Kaido. Why did I tell them that? 'Cause why not? I enjoyed their reaction. Sniff, sniff, I really hope you can find a way, sniff, to lift the curse, said one of the elves with large tears in her eyes. I am sure you can find a way to turn back to normal. So don't lose hope and continue to work hard, said another elf encouragingly. If you need any help, just let us know, we will help you in any way we can, said third elf with determination. As I was again bombarded, this time with reassurance. What about dwarves? What's that? Is it food? Can I eat it? I definitely didn't know anything about a bunch of dudes whose face is red and scrunched up, their nose is running. Their eyes are bloodshot and puffy. Such a horrific sight I wish I never see again. Seriously, dwarves are supposed to be robust and tough. Are all dwarves like this, or Kaijin and others are special? Well, I think they are reacting like this because they really care and respect me. Well, I guess I did save them. Still, I prefer cute girls crying over some old dudes. Mind you, I am not a sadist. I meant I prefer to comfort a beautiful girl over an old guy. After a while, all of the other elves asked me to transform into them. Well, I am getting a lot out of it, so why not? I mimicked everyone one by one. Well, thanks to that I learned a lot, like illusion magic, elemental magic like darkness elemental magic, earth elemental magic, flame elemental magic, light elemental magic, water elemental magic, wind elemental magic, etc. I also learned healing magic and other magic. It was really useful. Can you transfer, Kaijin? Okay girls, now I have a sense of the taste. How about we eat and drink? Rimuru. Okay, elves. We continued to drink. What? Kaijin? May I ask who that is? Is it someone I know? After a while I turned back into slime and jumped on one of the elf's lap. She was surprised, but she let me sit on her lap. Why did I do that? Well, Era, welcome. I sensed someone coming. It will cause trouble if someone shows two same-looking elves. So I am turned back to my slime form. Goodness me, what are you doing, allowing this vulgar monster into a high-class establishment like this? No, an older female manager called out, but it's just a little slime, so. It's still a monster, ain't it? You sayin' a slime's not a monster anymore? No, sir, but. The manager stuttered noncommittally, trying to calm the man down, but the boor wasn't even paying attention. Clearly, he was after us. Oh, great, one of the girls sighed. That's Vester, the minister. Same guy who put Kaijin in a troublesome situation? Well, he did seem like the kinda guy who refuses to let go of a grudge. I could see it on his face. You know what best suits a monster? Vester bellowed. This. Then he emptied the contents of his water glass over me. Wow, pouring a glass of water, is that all he can do? In high school manga bullies literally pour entire buckets. Compared to that, this is nothing. So I ignored him. It's better not to do anything to the government minister, it might cause trouble later on. As I came to conclusions not to do anything. You think you can run around and make fun of my guest, Vester? You think I'm not gonna mind that? You think? Kaijin asked angrily. I boinged back a bit in surprise, too, cushioned amply by the chest of the elf behind me. It's really soft. Let's focus on the current situation. So is it okay for Kaijin to go against the minister? I should stop. High. Too late, he launched a punch at the minister's face. A few moments later, he asked me, hey, Rimuru, you were looking for someone to help you, right? Would I be good enough, maybe? Kaijin. That's what I've been wanting to hear. It'll be great working with you, Kaijin. Rimuru. I suppose he already knew the consequences of punching the minister. Kaijin and I sealed the deal with an emphatic nod. So, as anyone could imagine, punching a government minister in the face presented a number of issues. My brother, muttered Kaido, a few security officers behind him. What did you do this time? Kaido. Humph, that fool. As 4 knights dragged Kaijin away, he shouted and pointed a wild finger at the minister. He practically spat in the face of Rimuru, my client and the best patron I've ever had. What's so bad about putting him in his place a little, huh? Kaijin. The 5 of us were taken to the royal palace. Not that we were under a very heavy guard. If anything, it seemed entirely voluntary. Before I left, though, I sidled up to the manager of the place and tossed 5 gold pieces into her hand. There's some for your trouble in there, too. I said to the surprised matron. We'll be back. We wound up having to spend around 2 days in the castle jail room. It wasn't so bad, the food looked decent, and we had all the comforts we needed in the place. It was less like a jail cell and more like an urban apartment shared by the 5 of us. We weren't treated too terribly, either. I just had to lose my temper, and now I've got all of you in here with me. I'm so sorry, guys. Kaijin apologized. It's fine, Kaijin. No problem at all. Garm. Yeah, don't worry about it, boss. Dord. Mildo. Besides, once we're released, we want to come with you, Kaijin. Garm. Yeah, can we come with you, Rimuru? Dord. Mildo. Ha, sure, we'll take care of all of you. You better be ready, though. Once we reach the village, you guys gonna work. Rimuru. Got it. They replied happily. Our day in court arrived soon after, and the entire lot of us were brought in front of the monarch, the heroic king of the dwarves. Now that I was seeing him in person, his stately aura was almost awe-inspiring. His Majesty Gazel Dwargo closed his eyes and sat deeply upon his throne. He was stocky, dwarf-like in appearance, and his exposed armor-like muscles positively radiated energy. His skin was a deep, dark brown, and his black hair was pulled back on his head. We will now begin the trial. Guard. For the next hour, both sides presented their cases. As criminal suspects, we weren't allowed to speak in the royal court. That right was reserved for those with rank of earl or greater. Otherwise, you needed the king's express permission. If you did speak out of turn, that apparently proved your guilt on the spot and earned you a bonus contempt of court charge. We were stuck having our representative speak for us. So there Sir Vester was, he continued, sitting back at this club and enjoying an alcoholic beverage, when this gang pushed their way into the place and exposed him to dreadful violence. This is not the kind of behavior that should ever be forgiven. Representative. Sigh. I am not even surprised. Vester bought him. Dude, at least try to act like you are protecting us. My liege. Vester exclaimed, egging him on. You have heard it for yourself. I beg of you to deal with these miscreants harshly. He flashed us a smile of supreme confidence. The king remained motionless, eyes closed. In his place, one of the guards beside him spoke. Order. I will now give the verdict. Kaijin, the mastermind behind this crime, is sentenced to 20 years of labor in the mines. His accomplices are sentenced to 10 years of labor in the mines. With that, this court is hereby guard. Seriously, we will be punished just like this. They didn't even try to find out the truth. And the king is letting that happen. The heroic king of the dwarves doesn't sound so heroic now. As we were about to be punished, wait, a deep, quiet voice interrupted. The king opened his eyes and looked at Kaijin. It has been a while, Kaijin. Do you remain in good health? Gazel. Yes, my liege. Came the instant reply. Presumably he had the right to speak now. Kaijin. It gladdens me that you remain so as well. Kaijin. Yes. Now, do you and your friends, looking at us have any desire to return to us? Gazel. That surprised me. I beg your forgiveness, my liege, but I have already found a master to serve. I have made my vow, and it has become my treasure. A treasure so fine that, indeed, not even the direct order of my liege could make me part with it. Kaijin. Ooh. That surprised me even more. He literally rejected the king in front of so many people. This clearly angered the audience. I could see the guards staring daggers into Kaijin's forehead. But he stood strong, chest puffed out, the picture of dignity. The king, seeing this, closed his eyes again. I see. Silence ruled for another moment. I have made my decision. Listen well to my sentence. Kaijin and his friends are hereby exiled from the kingdom. After midnight tonight, when the new day comes, they are officially no longer welcome in my lands. That is all. Begone at once. Opening his eyes, the king made his proclamation in a loud voice. Oh, so king is good after all. After listening to Kaijin's answer, he exiled him. It gives him a chance to come with me. Although he somehow seemed sad that Kaijin refused to come back. Being king around here seemed like a terribly lonely job to have. After the trial we went back to pack luggage. I wanted to get back as soon as possible, so after hurriedly pressing the dwarves to put on their best traveler's outfits, I pushed them out of the shop, went back in by myself, and proceeded to swallow up the entire contents of the building. Capacity-wise, I was still A-okay, but swallowing the building whole would probably have drawn a little too much attention, so I kept it at that. Once our preparations for the journey were complete, we made our way to where Rigur and the other goblins were waiting. Rigur and gang were all safe at the edge of the forest. Between this and that, we had spent a total of 5 days in the city, pretty much what we expected. Things didn't quite go according to plan, but we largely accomplished what we'd set out to do. Somehow it seems like I forgot something. What was that? As I was wondering. So cruel. I heard a loud voice. Oh, I remembered now. I forgot Gobta. I left him in jail cell. I didn't wanted him to cause trouble in trial. Then I forgot about him. He came back, so it's fine. Oh, and it seems like he learned how to summon a wolf. Rimuru-sama, you are too cruel. When those scary soldiers came, I almost scared crying. Gobta. Well, I promised him I would take him along to visit the shop with lots of beautiful sisters. He danced happily. It was too easy. Note. So if you were wondering, am I going to make Rimuru female? The answer will be yes. I will. But it will take a long time. I don't want to be like, hey, Rimuru has a female form and the next second he accepted being female. It will be a gradual process. Like first Rimuru accepts he is genderless, then he will become female. If you don't like female Rimuru, don't worry, it won't happen anytime soon. It will lot of time. Also, it doesn't necessarily have to be female Rimuru, it's possible to make him male too. Like what if? If I get enough people asking for it, I will try male version too. But I will never make BL or ship Rimuru with male, so don't ask me. Mind you, I don't hate people who like BL or like to ship Rimuru with other male. Rimuru is a perfect male, female and trap, so everyone has a different personal preference. I personally prefer femme Rimuru. Lastly, if I made any mistakes or you have any ideas to make the story better, let me know. I will consider your ideas. Thank you for reading. Bonus story, Curse of Slime. So what was that wolf, then? The soldier watching over me asked. What's he mean? What is it? Kaido. The species, you mean? It's Rimuru started to explain. No, not the name. What I mean is, why did that kind of monster show up around here? Where'd it come from? Where'd it go? I wanna hear everything you know. Kaido interjected. I told him that was just mimicry. He didn't believe me. I thought I was pretty open with him. I knew it was standard procedure for a hero to hide his secret identity, but I wasn't exactly a hero anyway. Well, I told you. That was just me transformed. Rimuru. Huh. Look, it's already rare for a slime to talk, and you want me to add shape-shifting to the package, too. Kaido. No, I mean. Look, would you like me to show you? Rimuru. Humph. Nah, it's fine. But if you can shape-shift, how is that possible? You're a slime, aren't you? Kaido. That. Wait, how should I answer that? I don't think he'd buy it if I just said it's an intrinsic. Or whatever. That'd just put me on the same level as Gobta. Think, man. You gotta come up with a decent excuse, now. Well, to put it simply, I was actually cursed. I'm capable of wielding illusory magic. Rimuru. Oh, really? A curse, is it? Then what? Kaido. Then, well, I know a few illusory spells, but I was still just a student at the time, so, this evil witch turned me into a slime. I'm on a journey to find a way to undo the curse, and, that's pretty much it. Rimuru. Why'd you run into an evil witch, then? Why'd she curse you instead of just killing you? Kaido. NNNGH. This would go a lot easier if you'd just believe me, man. You don't have to be so obstinate about it. Though I guess I'd be, too. If he actually bought my story, that'd make him more gullible than a goblin. I guess I have to tell him the entire story then. So it happened long ago in the certain nation, Rimuru. Started before I continue. What? Certain nation? Which nation are you talking about? Kaido interjected. Huh, well what? How should I know? I was just born in this world. Well, it was a nation far west to this nation, like as far as you can go, Rimuru. So it was Kingdom of Malakshur. Kaido. Yeah, just as you said, it was the Kingdom of Malakshur. I was the princess of that nation, Rimuru. Wait. Kaido interjected. What is it this time? How were you supposed to be the princess of Malakshur? The current king isn't even married yet, Kaido. Huh, how much do you know? Rimuru said annoyed. Seriously, he can't even let me start the story. What? Kaido. My sudden outburst confused him. I have to fix it. I mean, it's surprising you know so much about my home nation. It is situated far west. So people in this area rarely know that nations like Malakshur exist. Since it's a lot smaller and weaker compared to other nations, Rimuru. Oh, that's what you mean. Well, as guard captain of this nation, I have a duty to know about the royal families of other nations, so if one of the royals from another country came, I can treat them accordingly. So if the current king isn't even married, how are you supposed to be a princess? Kaido. I have to come up with something pronto. I used thought acceleration of Raphael to come up with something. Well, see, I told you before, right? It happened long ago. What I meant was that it happened several decades ago. At that time it was the grandfather of the current king, and I was his daughter who made me the aunt of the current king, Rimuru. As I was about to continue with this setting, but as far as I know the kingdom of Malakshur doesn't have any princesses for the last several generations. Kaido interjected. Ugh, how much does this guy know? Sigh. Well, let's see. Why, I am a princess of a family who doesn't have any daughters for generations. Well, let's use knowledge from novels I read in my past life. Let's see. I know. How about? Well, it's because they didn't make my existence public, Rimuru. Why do they do that? Kaido interjected again. Well, I show that from miles away. I have come up with the perfect reason for that. Well, it's simple, because I wasn't born from the true queen. Instead, I was just a daughter of maid. In another world, I was an illegitimate daughter of king. I told him while avoiding eye contact, and after I told him I gave him nervous laughter. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Kaido apologized. His voice was a low whisper, while giving a sympathetic look. It's working. I don't know whether I have to call him stupid for believing my story or kind-heartedly. As I felt a little concerned about this nation's security, I continued. As I was saying, it was long ago in the kingdom of Malakshur. I was the daughter of a king and a lowly maid. Because of that, my existence wasn't made public. Only the king, queen, and my mother knew who my real father was. I myself found out after I reached the age of 16. Rimuru continued. Third-person POV. The princess of Malakshur. Rimuru didn't know she herself was a princess. Her mother didn't tell her who her father was. She was allowed to stay with her mother in the castle. She really loved her mother. Sometimes her mother never came back. So that time she slept alone. And next day her mother came back really exhausted. She always had a painful look in her eyes. Mother, today when I was secretly playing in the garden, ISHW Prince learning magic from the instructor. Mother, I want to learn magic too. Mother can learn with him. Rimuru asked. She was only 7 years old, so she was too naive to understand what was different between her and Prince. She only called him Price because her mother called him that. No, my sweet daughter, you can't. We don't have money for an instructor. Mother said sadly. But that guy has an instructor, can't I learn with him? Rimuru asked, confused. That's Prince. People like us can't even go near him without his permission, Mother said. Why? But Rimuru asked. Enough. I told you can't. Don't ever try to go to the garden. Didn't I tell you are not allowed to go there? Mother told angrily. I can't let her suffer like me. She is just 7 years old, but can clearly see how beautiful she will end up being. If she caught the prince's eye, she might have to suffer just like me. I can't let this happen. As she was thinking what to do to protect her daughter. Wawa, mother, sniff. I hate you, sniff. You yelled at me, sniff. Rimuru sniffed, her eyes stinging with tears. She ran towards bed and hid under the bed sheet. She is really intelligent, but at times like this she really acts like a child. The mother thought with a wistful smile. My daughter. Mother is really sorry for yelling at you. She didn't mean that. She was just really tired from working. Can please forgive mother. Mother said sadly. Really? Are you tired? Rimuru asked while giving a slight peek from under the bedsheet. Yes, I was tired until I showed your smiling face. So please don't get angry with me. How about I tell you a story? Mother said happily. Rimuru twitched a little. Really? But aren't you tired? Won't it trouble you? Rimuru said sadly. Mother smiled happily, seeing how kind her daughter is. Don't worry, I can do anything for you, sweetie. Mother said happily. Okay. Rimuru smiled widely. After coming out of the bed sheet, as Rimuru laid beside her mother started a story about an evil witch who was in a nearby forest. She is very strong, she can grant you any wish. But in exchange you have to pay a terrible price. She continues to tell a story about a boy who went to find a witch to get his wish granted. In the end the witch told him, now you have to pay the price. Before she continued, a soft, rhythmic sigh escaped Rimuru's lips as she drifted into a deep sleep. Good night, have really sweet dreams, my lovely daughter. Mother whispered gently. Next day, Rimuru woke up alone. Her mother was nowhere to be found. But she didn't react. It was a frequent occurrence. Her mother will leave early to start her maid duty and come back late. So, after she woke up, changed her clothes, cleaned the room, and then she ate bread with water. Bread was really hard, so it was impossible to eat without water. Rimuru didn't mind it because her mother was working hard, so tried her best, so I won't cause her trouble. And continued her daily routine. After her daily routine, despite her mother's warning, she went to the garden. There he was, a prince. It was a boy of 15 years of age. He was practicing magic. Since the kingdom of Malakshur was a small and weak nation because that prince was forced to work extra hard by the king, as he reluctantly trained magic. Rimuru hid behind grass, focused her ears so she could listen to the explanation the instructor was giving. Magic is the embodiment of an idea that produces some effect in accordance with a specified law. As an example, a magic releases images that saps away heat in the form of energy, and as an ancillary effect, physical phenomena such as ice and fireballs are generated. Since the physical phenomena are not the main focus and the main subject is the embodied image, the effect is extended to spiritual life forms. Instructor: come on, I'm worried. Can't we skip the training? It's annoying. Prince: no, we cannot. I was directly ordered by the king to train you, and make you a strong mage. Instructor: ugh. Prince: now focus on studies. Instructor. Prince ignored him. Instructor sighs, tired of the prince's behavior. Despite that, he continues. The casting of spells requires mages to use incantations and or hand signs to focus an image and mana to conjure magic. Magic incantations and hand signs are just tools used to help increase focus and give the caster a solid image of the spell. As a result, those capable of clearly visualizing the spell's desired result can cast it without incantation or hand sign. More powerful spells will require greater concentration and longer incantations to perform, with some even needing years to complete due to their complexity. Instructor. As the instructor was explaining it, the prince fell asleep. Your Highness, instructor, woke up the prince while shouting a little. I am giving you this paper with questions written on it. If you can't answer by the next class, I will complain about your behavior to His Majesty. Then you will surely be punished. Instructor, after saying that, gave the prince question paper and left. Ugh, I don't want to do it, prince said, walked away throwing paper to the side. Seeing that, Rimuru quickly ran and took paper. I know the answers to these questions, Rimuru said after reading the questions. She took paper and wrote answers, unknowingly that someone was watching. After writing down the answers, she ran back to her room. After Rimuru went back, the prince took the paper and read the paper. After that, he smiled and then showed it to her mother, the queen. Oh, nearly all of them are correct. My son is a genius. But why didn't you answer this question? Did not know the answer. Queen asked, perplexed. I forgot. Prince said. Prince. Okay, so write down the answers. Queen. Mother, I will answer that later. Can I go to play? I haven't played in a while since I was studying for so long. Prince. But don't forget to answer that later. Okay. Queen said. Okay, Prince said while running away. The prince went around the castle. When he reached the servants' quarters, he found the girl who wrote answers. Hey, you wrote these answers, didn't you? Prince asked. I found it. I knew the answer, so I wrote it. Rimuru said while surprised. I knew it. How do you know the answers? But why didn't you write this answer? Prince asked. I am sorry. I was secretly watching the instructor teaching you that. And as for the last answer, the instructor didn't explain that. Rimuru said apologetically. Don't worry, you can continue what you are doing. I grant you permission, Prince said with an evil smirk. The next day, the prince showed an answer to the instructor. Well, your answers are all right except this one. Instructor said while pointing at a blank answer. You didn't teach me that. Prince said with confidence. Yes, I didn't teach you that. But it's written in the magic book I gave you. Did you not read it? Instructor asked. Books are too boring. Prince said. Even if it's boring, make sure to read those too, instructor said. After that, the instructor continued the class, and after class he gave some more books and one more question paper. Make sure to read this too and answer the question by next time, instructor said, and left. After the instructor left, the prince went to the grass where Rimuru was hiding, gave her paper and book and said, make sure to read this book to answer the questions. I will give you more books too, Prince said, and left. After getting back to his room, the prince laughing thought, great, now I don't have to study anymore. While Rimuru read the book and answered all the questions and gave them to the prince. Price continued to use Rimuru to run away from study while Rimuru continued to learn lots of magic and other things. And continued practicing magic. Among them, Rimuru's favorite magic was illusion magic. And then 9 years passed. Rimuru turned 16. She learned quite a lot. While the prince remained stupid. He didn't learn anything as he continued to use Rimuru. One day, as always, Rimuru was secretly watching the instructor teaching the prince. But suddenly the queen arrived there and saw Rimuru. You filthy child of whore, how dare you to step on this garden? Queen said and kicked her. Rimuru was a lot more mature than before. She knew who the queen was and what the consequence of going against the queen was. She endured the beating. I would have killed you and your mother long ago if it weren't for the king's favor that whore has. Queen. What does it mean? Rimuru was confused why she called her mother that. After the while of beating, the queen left, leaving behind the beaten Rimuru. After the queen left, Rimuru went back while hiding from the servants' quarters. She quickly entered the room. But her mother was there and she saw her badly beaten. What happened to you? Are you okay? Who did this to you? Mother asked, worried. Queen, Rimuru answered quietly. What? Mother, said her face lost all colors, her face white as a sheet. Mother, she told me you have the king's favor, Fand, she called, you. War. What does it mean? Rimuru knew its meaning but she still asked her. Mother. After a while she told Rimuru everything including the truth that confirmed Rimuru's suspicion that she was indeed the daughter of the king. Why are we still here? Let's run away somewhere far. I know the queen beats you every now and then. We have to run, Rimuru told her mother determined. Where we will run. If we run away the king will find us. And we will be killed, mother. Anywhere far away from here where we can live in peace, Rimuru said. After a while the mother agreed and they decided to run away that night. At night they ran. But while they were running the guards spotted them. They ran towards the forest to hide from Ged's. Forest was home to an evil mage and also was home to a whole bunch of strong monsters. So no one including guards approach it. After successfully running, Rimuru and her mother went deeper and deeper into the forest. They encountered some monsters in a way but Rimuru was strong so she defeated all of them. After 3 days of going deep into the forest they encountered an A-rank monster wind bear. A strong big bear with wind attribute. It can throw wind blades strong enough to cut through iron. Rimuru sensing danger attacks it with water magic. The ball of water was speeding towards it. Bear lifted his arm upwards and instantly released it downward, sending 3 wind blades. Wind blades cut through the water ball. Rimuru then used earth magic to create a wall of earth in front of her, to defend herself from wind cutter. Rimuru decided the only way to defeat the bear was to immobilize him. After quickly coming to the decision, Rimuru started chanting illusion magic to make herself and her mother invisible. But before the chant can be finished, bear threw wind cutter towards Rimuru. Before Rimuru realized what happened, her mother pushed her out of the way of the wind cutter. The next moment the chant was completed, making Rimuru and her mother invisible. A confused bear looked around. Before the bear can do anything, Rimuru quietly ran towards the bear and used earth magic. The earth spear, a strong rock with a sharpened edge like spar. Earth spar flew towards a bear like a speeding bullet, whoosh. And it hits bear, piercing through its tough skin to reach its heart, killing bear immediately. Rimuru killed the bear but she wasn't happy. Instead. Sniff. M.O. Mother, sniff. A.R. Are you okay? Sniff, Rimuru said while sobbing. Don't worry, I am okay. It's nothing, mother said. She has a pained look in her eyes. Boo. But. Yo, your arm. Rimuru said while stuttered. Rimuru's mother's left arm wasn't there. She lost it when she pushed Rimuru to save her from the bear's attack. She was bleeding profusely. Rimuru tried healing magic but after continuously using magic to defeat monster, and using powerful magic to defeat bear, she almost ran out of magicules. She didn't have enough magicules to use healing magic. So, took out cloth from their language and quickly tied it to her upper arm to stop bleeding. They couldn't return back to the kingdom, only way they have to continue walking and find any village or someone who can use magic. They continued walking. After 2 hours of walking they show a hut. Maybe someone there they can help heal her mother. Rimuru hopefully took her mother near hut. Her mother's condition was deteriorating at this point, she was barely conscious. If not treated soon she will die. When they finally about to reach to the hut. Muahahaha, I seems I got some guest. Muahahaha. A cackle of evil, echoing through the forest. As Rimuru looked at the direction where that sounds came, she caught a glimpse of the scrawny old lady. Her hair was ragged and white, and her face was covered in deep-set wrinkles. She wore black rag-like clothing. Please help my mother, she is dying, please heal her, please. I beg of you. Rimuru said while sobbing. Muahahaha, asking favor which? Such favors aren't cheap. If you prepared to pay a hefty price, I will prevent her death, which said. Please save my mother, I will do anything. But please save her, Rimuru said desperately. Muahahaha, which chortled, her eyes gleaming with wicked delight. Very well, I will prevent her from dying, which said as she started to cast a magic. A sinister laugh, like the wind howling through a haunted tower, echoed from the depths of the forest as she cast her spell. Rimuru's mother's arm stopped bleeding, but she started to give eerie feeling. Black aura surrounding her. WH. What are you doing? Rimuru asked frantically. Muahahaha, I am doing what you asked, I am preventing her death by turning her into undead. Muahahaha. Which? As she said that, Rimuru's mother's lost all expressions, turning her into an obedient puppet. Before Rimuru could do anything she got hit by magic, rendering her immobile. Muahahaha, now that woman is successfully turned into undead, it's your turn to pay the price. Muahahaha. Which? No, oh, Rimuru, her body started trembling as if trying to keep her racing heart from leaping out of her body. The next moment the witch started to chant a magic. As she completed chanting Muahahaha, now time for you to become my experiment, turn into monster. Muahahaha, which said that while she activated her magic. A black fog started to surround Rimuru. Within the moment fog has completely surrounded her and she lost consciousness. After few days a fog started to clear, but Rimuru was nowhere to be found. Instead there was a slime. What did you do to me? Rimuru. Now a slime shouted. Muahahaha, I turned you into slime. Muahahaha, which started laughing. Thinking of it as her chants, Rimuru started to chant her strongest magic, an illusion magic created by her. The witch, surprised, tried to cast magic of her own, but suddenly someone grabbed her from behind. It was Rimuru's mother. Ho, how? Can you move on your own? How is it possible? Witch, surprised, started shouting. I can do anything to protect my daughter, it's the power of love a mother has for her daughter, mother. Before Witch can speak anything else, Rimuru completed her chanting and shouted, suffer indefinitely, infinite pain. Her magic hit Witch, she started to feel unbearable amount of pain. Her body started shaking, but Rimuru's mother didn't allow her to move. My sweet daughter, you did great, I am proud of you. I really love. Now it's time, use your magic to end both of us, mother said happily with hint of sadness. Mother, I can't kill you. I want to stay with you forever, please don't say something like that. Rimuru, while tears welling up in her eyes. Don't worry, I will be always with you even after I die. So don't hesitate. You have to do it. I am already dead, I don't want to stay like undead, won't you do it for me, mother? After the second of hesitation she started chanting while shedding tears. After chanting she activated fire magic. I didn't able to give you happy life, that my only regret. So please live happy life, that's my only wish, mother. Firestorm Rimuru activated magic that engulfed both mother and witch. After while, nothing remained. Wah, wah, Rimuru wept her heart out. She continuously cried for 4 days and 4 nights, but not a single tear fell out of her slime body. After she calmed down she decided to honor her mother's final wish. And as a first step she decided to find way break that curse. And she started a journey to find way to break curse placed on her. Why did this have to happen? And why did I turn myself into a magical girl along the way? And the worst part of it was, whenever I said something that wandered off script, the soldier's next question would help me fix the mistake. Oh, right. I'd say to myself as the tale meandered its merry way down the path. By the end of it, both myself and the soldier were enthralled, hoping against hope that the girl would somehow succeed on her quest. Our eyes burned with passion, at least, his did. Truly, we had a connection that went beyond mere words. Lastly, I told him to keep this secret. I don't want a rumor about me. Note. So why did I wrote this? I don't know. I just got sudden inspiration and before I knew it I kinda wrote a lot. As for the story, I'm sorry, I am kinda too lazy to come up with a good name. So I didn't give any character name. If have any suggestions, let me know. Lastly, as always, I might have made lots of mistakes, so if find any, let me know. And if you have any better idea, let me know. Thank you for reading. Ch. The Conqueror of Flames. After we came back from Dworgen, I took the time to introduce Kaijin and his hapless friends to the goblins. We'd all be working together for a while to come, so I wanted to get off on the right foot. Come to think of it, I didn't see much in the way of casual racism from the dwarves, most of them, anyway. Given the demi-magical origins we all shared, I suppose it made sense. I could imagine us crossing their paths again someday. We were now more or less ready to roll. The only problem was transport. Ranga, of course, was wagging his tail, as if me hopping on him was the pinnacle of his life. I explained to him that I needed his full 15-foot size for a bit so we could fit 2 out of the 3 brothers on his back. Ranga was not a fan of this idea. His face instantly turned sullen as he wobbled backward and plopped his ass on the ground. He glowered at the newcomers as if to suggest he could just eat them instead and save everyone a lot of trouble. The dwarves almost jumped out of their skin. Even when they first saw him, they'd wailed in perfect unison. Gah, how could you ever? And so forth. Either this was a well-practiced routine of theirs, or Ranga really did scare them that much. There had to be something I could do. How do they scared of my cute little puppy? Hang on, Ranga, I said. I tried transforming into one of you guys earlier, and I'd like to test out how it works a bit. That's why I want you to let these dwarves on, alright. His head immediately shot up. I understand, my master. Kaijin and Garm, eldest of the 3 brothers, would go on my back. Ranga would take Dold and Mildo. Once they were on, I'd spin some sticky thread to make sure they stayed on. These guys did nearly 50 at their peak. In this motorcycle-free world, the experience would probably make them pass out. Not that I knew whether I could handle that speed or whether I wanted to. Mimic, Tempest Star Wolf. Astounding. Your dazzling strength knows no bounds, my master. Ranga. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I'll bet. And you'll look like this someday soon, if you keep it up. Rimuru. We will do our best to live up to your lofty expectations, my master. Ranga's eyes sparkled at this new mission in life. The rest of the Tempest Wolves grew equally excited. Always a good idea to motivate the troops a bit. So I turned to Kaijin and Garm to get them to hop on, and, well, that's weird. They're all unconscious and foaming at the mouth. What are these guys doing, anyway? Oh well. I knew that practice would come in handy. A little sticky thread off my back, and everyone was pulled up and put firmly in place. Success. Fainted dwarves wouldn't make great traveling companions, but either way, we were off. Putting the dwarves in the back of my mind, I proceeded down the path back home. At least they wouldn't bite their tongues or whatnot if they were unconscious. If I were them, I wouldn't want to wake up in the middle of this scream machine anyway. It'd be better for everyone if they stayed asleep until it was all over. I'll feed them, of course, but I really am mean to people, aren't I? Affirmative. I don't need your input on that. And speaking of which, Rigur, have you ever successfully summoned one of the black wolves before? Rimuru. I have not, Rimuru-sama. it embarrasses me to admit. Rigur. He hadn't, and it was a point of frustration for the other goblins, too, not to mention their wolf partners. So why just Gobda, really? Because I guess Gobda managed to. Rimuru. What? Gobda, is that true? Rigur. Why yes. I gave the call, and he came over for me. Gobda. There was a fighting spirit in everyone's, and every dog's, eyes now. It's not impossible, Rigur reflected. Gobda is strong enough to have done the Dwarven Kingdom journey round trip on foot once. Rigur. Oh, right. I thought he was a slobbering idiot, but apparently he was good in a pinch. He was an idiot, of course, but not useless. Surviving a 4-month journey through the wilderness and foraging off the land wasn't something any old guy could do. He'd had to deal with monsters along the way, too, weak though they might have been. I placed Gobda a few rungs higher in my internal totem pole. He'd probably tumble right back down soon enough. At night, we decided to camp and rest for night. Next day, Kaijin and others woke up. As they ate, I reviewed our future plans. We would be at the village in another 2 days or so, I explained. No. They whispered in unison, realizing exactly how fast those wolves were taking them. Hey, don't worry. I told them. Once you get used to it, it's a breeze. It'd be nice if they could get used to it, but I figured we'd probably reach the end of the journey before then. We set off back down the road. Time to build a thought communication space for us. Now that I'd done it a few times, it came naturally to me. The dwarves picked up on it, too, which was a relief. Thought communication was a sort of high-level version of telepathy, letting you build links and talk with multiple people at once. It also made things like strategy meetings easier for us. It remained effective across a range of half a mile or so, which was more than enough for my purposes. Either way, the dwarves were getting into the swing of things, and their makeshift helmets were having the effect I wanted. I could talk with them now, and they were kind enough to teach me a thing or two about life in their kingdom as we rode on. The goblins were listening in as well, chiming in about their own experiences, and we had a nice, friendly confab for much of the day. This should keep up in the village, too, I hoped. As I suddenly remembered something else, I decided to bring it up. Well, let me ask you this, then, Kaijin. Why did you come with me? Wouldn't it have been the best thing for your life if you rejoined the king? Rimuru. Asked them worriedly. I wonder why they came with me in the end. I am just slime. Abandoning their whole life in Dwarden just for a slime. Coming to a small monster village. Was it worth it? I am worried they are doing because I helped them. And they won't reply the favor. I don't want to force them into this. Gahaha. Well, a lot more sensitive than I thought, Rimuru. I did it because it looked like fun. It was just instinct, you know. Like, hey, this guy's gonna go out and do something. That's all the reason I needed, you know. Kaijin. Heh, I retorted. Well, don't come crying to me later if it turns sour. I'm pretty well known for being mean to people. It was true. I did practically nothing by myself. I entrusted everything to others. But I did want to help. To be relied on. I wanted to be the sort of person who could manage that. Oh, I know. Kaijin replied. I nodded, satisfied. 2 days later, we arrived at the village on time. Mission accomplished. So there we were, back at the goblin village. It had been only about 2 weeks, but I was seriously starting to miss it a little. Assuming you wanted to call it a village at all. It was more of an empty space with a fence around it. While we were gone, a few simple tents had been pitched around the area. There were signs of progress, at least. I spotted a large iron pot situated over the remains of the central campfire. Goblin cuisine used to be all about spit roasting, but now they'd added simmering to the mix. The resident hobgoblin spotted our returning party quickly, greeting us with cheers and applause. I had rudely forgotten to bring souvenirs, but given the monster pelts and such I spotted drying here and their proceeds from their hunting, no doubt I was sure the dwarves would have everyone kicked up and clothed before long. I'd like the goblins to make that stuff themselves later, but let's take it one step at a time. Welcome back. Rigurd said while running towards me before I could ask. I hate to bother you so soon after returning, Rimuru-sama, but we have visitors. Visitors? But I don't remember having any friends. I decided to let the dwarves show themselves around. They'd be living here for a while, and I was sure they were curious to see what it was like. I also stowed the tools I'd brought along in an empty tent, figuring the covering would at least offer some protection against the elements. Leaving our new residence to Rigur, I had the elder guide me to our guests. He took me to one of the larger tents, which had been converted into a sort of meeting room. Who could it be? I guess I'll find out, I thought as I bounced in. Once I passed under the flap, I stopped. Inside were a bunch of goblins, the regular kind. Several of them were well dressed, each one accompanied by a handful of servants. Some elders and their guards, maybe. Nobody was armed. Not that I minded that. Before I could ask what was up, the goblins prostrate themselves on the floor. It is an honor to meet you, O great master. They all shouted in unison. Please, listen to our most earnest of hopes. Great master? I guess they mean me, but really, that's going too far. They sure believed it, though. Their eyes couldn't have been more longing or resolute. There was no telling what they wanted, but I figured I'd hear them out. All right, go ahead. Rimuru. Oh, thank you for your generosity. one of the elders shouted. All of us here wish to join your throngs of followers, sir. Please, grant us your magnanimous kindness. The others said as they remained on the floor, eyes turned to me, before bowing low. I didn't mind taking them in. I would feel bad if they died. After Feldera's disappearance, forest became lot more dang ours. If they stab us in the back after that, I just cross that bridge when I get there. Anyone who wants to come over, have at it, I told the goblin representatives. That was enough to send them back home for now. As I looked over the teeming crowds of goblins, I thought to myself, this is, kind of too many, isn't it? Far too many to house within the village's space. Why did this have to be my problem, anyway? Over the past few days, we'd been stuck building axes, using them to chop down trees for wood, and so on. We hadn't even started on houses yet. There was just too much to work on. Kaijin was handling wood duties, while the three dwarven brothers worked on processing the animal pelts into hobgoblin clothing. The looks they had been giving the females were less than savory. I figured it was best to set them on that job before anything else. We were in the midst of this when the goblins showed up. 4 tribes, about 500 of them in total. The rest were still in the villages with the elders who opted to stay put. Well, time for a move. It wouldn't make much difference work-wise, assuming we did it right now. I checked my mental map of the area. Preferably I'd have liked something with nearby water and some cleared land suitable for farming. As I walked around, I realized that the most ideal location was the area right nearby the cave I'd popped out of. That took care of one issue, but I had something bigger on my plate. Naming. Just thinking about it depressed me. I had the sinking feeling that by the time I got halfway through the 500 or so goblins, I'd just be running through the alphabet. Updef would be a little hard to pronounce, though. Still, I had to get started. It took around 4 days to get through them all, with a quick bit of sleep mode in between, and I really had to hand it to myself. I stuck it out to the end. Not quite as exhausting as last time, but not a process I wanted to repeat anytime soon. I called the tribal elders over. They knelt down in their stately hobgob way. Rigurd was there, and following in his footsteps were 3 others I had just named, Rugurd, Rigurd, and Rogurd. That left one unnamed elder, and she was a woman. Something feminine sounding was best, I thought, so I picked Lilina. One advantage of everyone being hobgobs was that I could actually tell them apart by gender. Magic sense could help me do that with the regular gobs, but to the naked eye, it was a challenge. Could I turn Lilina into another name series, maybe? I thought about it but decided not to worry about the future too much. No time for it. All right, I declared, I'm giving all of you ranks. Rigurd received a nice upgrade to Goblin King. The other 4 elders became Goblin Lords. The rest of the goblins in the village immediately bowed to them, which was a spine-tingling sight to see. Why yes, our lord. The elders pereked. The ensuing cheers were deafening. I had just inadvertently penned a new chapter in goblin history. After making sure everything was in place, we set off. It was our first step toward a new land, toward a new nation for us. The sound of chopping trees and hammering echoed throughout the forest. Slowly, the new town and its houses were beginning to take shape. In our minds, at least. We were still busy laying out the water and septic system, so for now, it was still just a clearing. Oh, is that where you were, Rimuru-sama? I was searching for you. Rigurd, what is it? Rimuru, I've come to report to you, sir. We've captured a few suspicious individuals. Rigurd said with serious expression. Suspicious? A bunch of monsters, or? Rimuru asked worried. No, sir, humans. We did not engage them, as you ordered. Rigurd, humans? Why here? Rimuru, whoa, sweet, better get on their good sides, fast. They were engaged in battle with a group of giant ants, it seems. Rigur and his security detail rescued them and took them here, but, apparently he suspects they are conducting an investigation of the local area. I thought I would come to you for advice, Rigurd. All right, take me to them. I said as I hopped on Rigurd's shoulder. So aboard Rigurd's shoulders, I made my way to see these adventurers. Who are they? I wondered before a conversation entered my figurative ears. Who? Hey, I wanted that. That's just mean, isn't it? I raised this meat myself. Sir, I regret to inform you that I am not giving up this food. Munch, munch. Certainly seemed like some excitement. Rimuru. Rigurd replied to my silent question. My apologies, Sir Rimuru. It would seem the ants made off with most of their luggage, and even before then, they had not had a decent meal in some time, so I had some brought to them. That was kind of the Goblin King, to be sure. Oh, that's no problem, I replied. In fact, good job noticing. Helping out someone in need is a nice thing, you know. Rimuru. Haha, I will do my best to improve my rule and be less of a burden upon you, Rimuru-sama. Rigurd. The moment we stepped in, I felt all eyes upon me. 4 adventurers sat on the ground, their mouths full of assorted meats and vegetables. Their eyes were wide open as they gawked at me. It was a hilarious sight to see, although they probably didn't realize it. Have I seen them somewhere before? Oh, right. They were the adventurers I passed by in the cave, although one of them was new to me. I wondered how any kind of food got through the mask this figure had on. Munch, munch. They sat there for a moment, chewing. They sure were taking their time. Rigurd walked up to a tall seat on one side and placed me upon it. "My guests," he bellowed as he sat next to me, "I do hope you are comfortable here. Allow me to introduce you to our master, Rimuru-sama." I could hear them swallowing down their food. Then, in unison, "Huh, a slime. Munch, munch." All of them reacted with shock. "Well, I'm not sure about the last one, actually. Whatever. It is good to meet you. I am Rimuru, a slime. Not a bad slime, you know." "Rimuru." I heard a sputtering sound from under the mask. With all the food that guy was chewing, the results probably weren't pretty. Rude jerk. Well, it's my fault for joking around, but if a girl with a mask reacted that much, it means she is probably otherworlder. There is no way anyone from my land wouldn't know that reference probably. "Oh, we're human adventurers, by the way, and this meat is really good. We've been running for the past 3 days, I think, so it's been hard to eat much of anything. Thank you so much." "Yeah, thanks. I sure didn't expect some hobgoblins to be building a village around here." Since they were eating, I decided to give them privacy. Settling down back in my tent, I began patiently waiting. Rigurd had one of his female assistants prepare some tea for us. It looked more palatable than the last beverage I tried from them, so I took my elf form and took sip. Well, it still has a long way to go, but it was better than before. When I took my elf from, everyone was surprised at the beginning, but they got used to it pretty soon. After a few more moments, the 4 adventurers popped in, immediately giving a hearty "sorry about that." As they entered, the tent was a little cramped with all of them inside. Once their goblin guide was gone, another one brought out some fresh tea for the group. There, see. Real service, out of nowhere. They must have picked it up from the dwarves. I knew they had been spending nights drinking with them, learning about their society and culture. "Ah, good to see you again. My name is Rimuru, and I'm the leader of this little group. What brings you guys over here?" "Rimuru. What, but didn't the leader was a slime?" "See, I am slime. I just took form more appropriate for talking, Rimuru," I said while taking my slime from. "What?" Everyone was surprised. After that I took my elf form and asked, "And you are?" "Rimuru." "Oh, I am glad to meet you, Rimuru. My name is Cabal, the leader of this band, more or less. This is Elin, and that's Giddo over there. We're adventurers, all ranked B. You know what that means, I imagine." Cabal said, realizing it was rude of them to not introduce themselves. "Hi, Elin here." "Elin, Giddo, ma'am. A pleasure." "Giddo." So they were a party. Being ranked B put them in the upper echelons, to be sure, but they would have faced a rough time in the cave. No. Maybe they were masters at hiding from monsters or something. And what about the other one in their ranks? I was sure there were only 3 of them in the cave. This, meanwhile, is Shizu, a temporary addition to our team for this mission. Cabal. Shizu. Charmed. Shizu. It was hard to tell her gender or age strictly from her voice. But after honing my talents trying to differentiate goblins, I could tell right off she was a woman. And, if my hunch was correct, maybe even Japanese. That was the impression I had. Although, it occurred to me, was it me, or were these adventurers being way too cavalier with their own safety right now? So far, they seemed to be enjoying their stay immensely, eating, drinking, and laughing with each other. This was a monster's den they'd wandered into. They knew that, right? Maybe they just had a screw loose, I dunno. Oops, got sidetracked. Time to continue the conversation. "You too, thanks. So, Rimuru." They were exceedingly forthright with their story, apparently not wary of my motives in the least. Their guild master had sent them to examine the area around the cave and check to see whether anything suspicious had taken place, but this mission was proving to stymie them. "Yeah, that's the thing." Cabal continued. "We're here looking for suspicious things, but what the heck is suspicious supposed to mean? We're clueless here." "Totally." Elin chimed in. I wish he could have said, like, "Look for this or that or the other thing," instead of leaving it so vague. "We might be good scouts and all that, but we can't do everything, you know." Giddo added. And so they badmouthed their guild master without a care in the world. I almost felt sorry for the guy. We continued talking for a while. These guys were a lot more good-natured than I gave them credit for at first. Just in case, I decided to ask whether the guild would have any problems with us building a town here. "It ought to be fine, right?" Cabal said. "Yeah," Elin agreed. "It's not the guild's problem in the first place. What about the local governments, though?" "Ooh, that ain't for me to say," was Giddo's opinion. Then, as I thought over this, I noticed that something was going on with Shizu, who'd been sitting there listening the whole time. Suddenly, she slumped to the floor, unconscious. We all immediately came up to her, trying to hold her up, when NHH, Enrayah, Shizu. Things progressed quickly after that. Once Shizu's extended groan ended, the tent was visited by absolute silence. Cracks were now appearing over her mask, mystical force wafting out from beneath. All of us could tell that something bad was happening. "Summon magic." Elin shouted in surprise. "Great Earth, place thy bonds over her." Mud hand. Elin. Knockdown. Cabal. First, Elin tied her down. Then Cabal landed a full-body blow. Giddo played backup, ready to act the moment trouble appeared. For B ranks, their teamwork was top-notch. Not a single wasted movement. But all Shizu had to do was lift the top of her index finger up a bit, and that was enough to trigger a small explosion around her. So much for my tent, which I didn't mind that much, but what about those three? Were they hurt? There was a bit of a shock wave, but I was unscathed. Wait, no way. The Conqueror of Flames. Giddo. Shizu was still casting a spell. Her entire body was glowing bright red, hovering in the air a little. Her mask remained prominent on her face as her long black hair spilled out of her robe. What's she trying to do? She seemed strange to me a moment before all this happened. Rigurd, get everyone out of town. Don't let anyone near here. I shouted. But, Rigurd, that's an order. Rimuru, after hearing that, he quickly left. Flames shot upward. Up in the sky, 3 flame salamanders appeared. It was a hell of a way for Shizu to reveal her face to us. Her black hair fanned outward with the shock wave, shining brilliantly against the inferno. She had a fleeting, transient beauty to her, but her eyes emitted a wicked shine, and the edges of her lips were twisted upward in what seemed to be an expression of utter joy at the carnage she had seen. Something about it struck me as completely unnatural, in a way I couldn't describe very well. Then, launching unique skill Deviant. The voice of the world echoed around us. As it did, the beautiful young girl transformed into a giant of pure fire. No mistaking it, Giddo shouted. That's the Conqueror of Flames, the master of Ifrit the Titan. The strongest elementalist in the world. Ifrit, the Fire Titan. The Lord of Fire, capable of burning anything in his path. A level above any royalty, mortal or divine. Even in this predicament, I wasn't trembling with fear or anything. Maybe it was because I was a monster now. I mean, Feldera and that black snake kinda freaked me out at first, but both wound up being good experiences in the end. Hey, what are you trying to do? Rimuru asked Shizu. Shizu, something is wrong with her. Notice. Ifrit has taken over individual Shizu's body. What? Suppressing Ifrit was priority 1. I could check up on Shizu later. I shot a water blade at Ifrit's stomach. It evaporated right before reaching the flame giant. A spiraling plume of fire cut it off. Guess that won't work. But I didn't have time to ponder it, because the salamanders had just reacted to my attack. Icicle Lance. Elan's ice magic stabbed its way through one of them. As I took a peek at her, she was already fleeing back into her corner of the magic barrier. It was a clever attempt. It looked as if the barrier was holding up well enough without much concentration on the caster's part. But it'd take more than an icicle lance to shoot down those salamanders. Suggestion. Physical attacks will not work against spiritual foes. Striking their elemental weakness or using magic will affect them. If that's so, then let's use Icicle Lance. Rimuru. I used the same magic Elan used, but compared to her my Icicle Lance were a lot more powerful. It took out the salamander in a single hit. So use it to take out other salamanders too. Now only Ifrit alone is left. I gave some potions to Elan and her party and told them to evaluate. Don't worry, Ifrit's all mine. Rimuru said, reassuring Elan and her party, after hearing that they left. Now as for Ifrit. By the time I thought, oh, crap, it was already too late. The moment I felt it, I was already surrounded. A wide-range barrier to trap me, one of Ifrit's intrinsics. In an instant, there was a magic circle painted on the ground, no chanting required to cast it. I forgot I wasn't the only one who could do that. He had transformed his own body into gas and turned a 100-yard radius into a searing hot ocean of flame. Probably one of Ifrit's high-level ranged attacks, and even worse, the area was brimming with energy from the Ifrit clones I had defeated. Flare circle. I heard a voice that I couldn't quite decipher. Man, woman, young, old, hard to tell. I mentally prepared myself for death. Certain other regrets also entered my mind. Still, I knew my senses were ultra-fast, but it sure was taking a while for the damage to arrive. Not that I minded a painless death, if it had to be that way. Seriously, wasn't this going kind of slowly? Was he just screwing with me? Weird. I should have been swallowed up by the flames a while ago. The effects of resist temperature have successfully cancelled flame-based attacks automatically, Raphael. I detected at least a bit of you forgot all about resist temperature, didn't you? Sarcasm to the voice. Now that flame attack doesn't work on me. Time to finish up, then. Use unique skill Predator. Yes, no. That'll be a big ol' yes, please. A flash of bright light covered the area, then suddenly vanished. All that was left was a lone old woman and me. Shizu lost consciousness. So I picked her up and put her in bed in nearby intact tent. So she can rest. After I completed my after-battle cleanup, I went to see how she was. She didn't have long. In fact, she might never regain consciousness. Still, I wanted to take care of her to the end. This fellow otherworlder human, Elan, Cabal, and Giddo only had some minor injuries, but they were healed immediately thanks to the healing potion. The 3 of them had their qualms about what happened to Shizu, but not enough to keep them from setting off again after 3 days of rest. They had a report to file and a looming deadline. If anything, 3 days was a generous amount of time to worry over a woman who'd essentially shoehorned herself into their traveling party uninvited. Still, I promised them all that I'd take care of her, and that was enough to put their minds at ease. I decided to give them a farewell gift, a few pieces of equipment, freshly made by the Dwarven brothers. They were all test models, made with materials they had procured themselves, but the quality was respectable. I also tossed in some food and 10 recovery potions for good measure. After receiving gifts they left immediately. I continued to take care of Shizu. Note: as always, if you find any mistakes let me know, and if there is any better idea I will consider them. Thank you for reading. Ch. 9. The Inherited Form. A week passed before Shizu woke up. Is this? Oh. I apologize. Shizu. Despite the transformation, she still retained all her memories. I was dreaming, she told me. Dreaming about the past. The city I lived in. A place I can never return to. Shizu. Did she mean Japan? I thought. Tell me, slime. What is your name? Shizu. Maybe her suddenly elderliness was affecting her memory after all. I knew I had introduced myself in her presence. Rimuru, ma'am, I replied. Shizu closed her eyes, as if thinking over something. Could you maybe tell me your real name? She said. She must have known all along. I hesitated for a moment. It's Satoru Mikami. Rimuru. My real name. A name I figured I wouldn't be using again. Ah, from my land, are you? I had thought you might be. I sensed it from you. She fell silent for a moment. I had heard from my students, as well. The city's much better now. Prettier. The last time I was there was nothing but fire all around me. Yeah, I could show you, if you'd like. Rimuru. I used thought communication to do exactly that. Fairly useful thing to have at a time like this. I liked it. Ah. The sight made Shizu shed a tear. Listen, slime, or I should say Satoru, I suppose. I have a request for you. Would you mind listening to it? Shizu. What kind of request? I want to do everything in my power to fulfill her last wish if possible. I want you to eat me. Shizu. What did this old lady just say? Is she going senile? You consumed the curse that was placed on me, did you not? I'm so glad to be rid of it. Her voice grew quiet. I wish I had the chance. I doubt I could have ever done it, but I wish I could have had the chance to confront the person who placed it on me, one more time. So I have just one request for you. Would you let me sleep inside you? Shizu. Something about her eyes, the resolve that she just couldn't relinquish, grabbed at me. It seemed so absurd, so cruel. I have to tell you I have nothing but spite for this world, but I couldn't bring myself to hate it. Still, it's the same as how I feel toward that man. Perhaps I can't help but think of him when I look around me. That's why I don't want to be taken into the earth here. So please. I was hoping you could eat me instead, Shizu. Fulfilling her request would bind me, no doubt, and give me a curse of my own. Curse of the killing person I fell in love with. We didn't spend much time together. Perhaps you could call it love at first sight. If I kill her I would be charged with taking on her despair and hatred. Was there any need to waver on that, though? If I wanted her to see the afterlife with her mind at peace, the answer was obvious. Even if I have to suffer for it. All right. I'll be happy to take on your feelings. And what was the name of this man, the one who hurt you? Rimuru. At the question, Shizu opened her eyes, scrunched up her burn-scarred face, and shed a few more tears. Leon Cromwell, she said. One of the strongest demon lords. Shizu. She looked at me with pleading eyes. I promise. I declared. By my name as Satoru Mikami, or Rimuru Tempest, or a person who fall in love with you, or whatever works best for you, I promise I'll make Leon Cromwell know everything you feel about him. I'll make him regret every moment. Rimuru. Thank you, I am happy to hear I am so loved. She whispered, and then she closed her eyes, her breath turning shallow as she slept. Use unique skill Predator. Yes, no. Here's hoping you'll find some peace inside me, then. Yes, I thought to myself, in a sort of prayer to her, a hope that her dreams inside would remain happy forever. With no more rude awakenings. Raphael. You don't have to worry about me, Raphael. I'm fine. Beside, first loves rarely are succeed. I knew something like this will happen someday. It's little painful but I get over it soon. Rimuru. Said heartbroken. Shizu was gone, now gone, after giving me one final goal to strive for. Up to now, I had largely taken things as they'd arrived, fighting to keep my head above water. Now, though, I had a motivation to gather some intel on this demon lord guy. It was a job I readily accepted, but it was also a promise. And I'm a man who keeps his promises. Besides, I wasn't empty-handed. She left me with a few new abilities: the unique skill Deviant and the extra skill Control Flame. Unique skill Deviant got integrated into Raphael via ability adjust. And Raphael got synthesize/separate in exchange. Its abilities are: synthesis, transform two differing targets into a single object. Can be used to chain the effects of several skills together, earning the user new skills with significantly less effort than would otherwise be required. Separation releases the properties inherent to the target and separates them. Examples include but are not limited to depriving a person of skill/S, with the exception of ones bound to their soul, and removing foreign objects such as entities attempting possession or toxins from the target's body. Oh, right. I ate Ifrit, too, didn't I? there was still a lot of research to be done on my abilities. But, before that, there was something even more important I needed to check up on. That's right, transforming into an actual person. I have my elf form, but well, it's temporary. I have to use magicules to maintain it. But now that I actually ate Shizu, now I can use Predator to mimic actual human without worrying about consuming magicules. I ventured inside the new tent the hobgobs had set up for me, making doubly sure to have all visitors turned away before I closed the door. Ha ha ha, ha ha, ah ha ha, ha. 3 levels of laughing, and then, transform. Rimuru. It wasn't accompanied by any cool sound effects, but I executed mimic human on myself nonetheless. But, whoa, whoa, whoa. There was none of the usual black smoke I was expecting. What the heck? I thought, as I realized that my field of vision was only a little higher than usual. I had grown arms and legs, and my usual light blue shade had morphed into a flesh tone. I wasn't sure what had happened, but something told me it wasn't what I had planned. I didn't have a mirror on hand, which was a pain. But, I kinda didn't want to admit it, but I actually was familiar with this form after all. It was from a long time ago, maybe 30 years or so. This was how the world looked to me back when I was still bumbling around in elementary school. Hang on a sec. I was too excited to notice at first, but there was one key difference. It wasn't there. My should have been newly born manhood, that is, which I was expecting to see down below. It wasn't there. What the hell? I internally shuddered as I took another close look at my crotch. It only confirmed the worst. It was smooth as the hypothetical baby's bottom. Thinking back, this wasn't something I had bothered to check up on when transforming into other monster types. But I supposed it made sense. If I never had to eliminate waste from my body, what use would I have for the associated organs? And if I didn't need to reproduce, I was still fuzzy on that. But if I didn't, then why bother with genitals at all? That was just who I was now, was all. It was strangely convincing, even as it drove me into a deep sense of mourning. Well, I guess it's better than being a female. After consoling myself, I sighed, deeply. Suddenly, I was taken by an urge to touch the top of my head. I felt soft hair up there. It made me breathe a sigh of relief. At least I wasn't shaped like a space alien. That's a step forward. And, come to think of it, I was a giant ball of fur in wolf form. I don't even want to imagine what that'd look like without hair. Nope. That's a dangerous line of thought. Really, though, I thought I'd keep a cooler head than this. Why was I letting myself get in such a panic? I just have to accept the truth about what happened down there. It was hard to swallow, but at least I wasn't a slime any longer. Too bad I can't check up on my whole body, I thought. What about the replication skill I just picked up from Ifrit? Seemed like a nice idea. Good job, me. I didn't know if it'd work, but it was worth a shot. Black mist darted out of my body, forming a human figure in front of me. Looked like it was a success after all. It was completed in an instant, only to reveal. Oh, crap. Bad news. First off, my appearance. The hair was a silvery gray with a light tinge of blue to it, topping off a pair of wide-open eyes and a charming, young, feminine, masculine. The lack of genitals made it fairly irrelevant, but in terms of appearance, I looked closer to a girl than a boy. This was probably thanks to Shizu. There were no features that I could identify as my own. But it wasn't a perfect recreation of Shizu's genes, either. The hair color was one thing, but the golden eyes were quite another. Feldera had gold eyes, too, which was a common trait among the higher monsters, perhaps. And hang on, didn't Ranga's eyes go from a blood red to gold as well? Although they also changed depending on his excitement level. Still, maybe they changed because of my influence on him as his name giver. Either way, nothing about this form was from me. In this world, the only thing that was truly mine was my soul, it seemed. This was mostly Shizu, and man, she must have been one darling little girl. My skin was tremendously smooth, too, with none of the rubbery bounciness of my slime form. So this cute girl was just standing there in front of me, but naked. Not that there was anything that really required hiding, but it still presented certain ethical issues. If the police existed here, which they didn't, I'd be in serious trouble. But that face was cute. I had to hand it to Shizu. She was blessed with a lot of gifts. I wasn't too hideous when I was young, either, but nobody would ever describe me as beautiful, no matter how much I padded my memories. I really have to thank her, I thought to myself as I wrapped a blanket around my body, taking the time to hand one to my doppelganger. Now I really needed to figure out some clothing. Alright, my replication was different than Ifrit's. One big difference was my copy's capacity for magicules. It held only whatever I cast upon it when creating it, although I was free to install more inside if I wanted to. I had a fair amount of magic to work with, so depending on the application, I could probably do a lot with it. The other issue was that, while Ifrit could generate 10 or so copies without breaking a sweat, my replication skills were so intricate and detail-oriented that a single copy was the best I could manage. Also, it seems I can give it a sense of self, like they have the same personality and memory as me. It might come in handy if I have to be at 2 places at the same time. Also, I could make a copy of myself with all the same attack and defense abilities. Any foe who ran into this skill would think I was cheating. The way it seemed so breezily natural to me, taking this form. That was something I noticed when I realized no dark mist had surrounded my body. It was hard to notice thanks to the limited movement available to a form without limbs, but slime cells were powerful things, each one could serve as a muscle cell or a brain cell or a nerve cell. See the streamlining effect this makes? Seeing things with the eyes, relaying the information to the nervous system, bringing it to the brain. I could skip all of that. Even without the Raphael's upgrading effects, my reaction speed was far above the average person's. Transforming with the black mist, however, created a slight time lag between thinking something and moving my body in reaction to it. That, I figured, was what made the replication inferior, if anything, to the real thing. As for this mist-free human transformation, you guessed it had the exact same reaction speed as my regular slime form. No wonder it felt so natural. Having limbs also improved my mobility immensely. Even in child form, it was so much easier to get around than as a slime, although it tired me out more quickly. Peace had returned to the village, and the hobgoblins had been acting remarkably calm and composed despite the Ifrit attack that leveled the place. The biggest surprise, I suppose, was how much of a born leader Rigurd, my newly appointed goblin king, turned out to be. Much more than I would have guessed. He had done a splendid job leading the work teams as they rebuilt the village while I watched after Shizu. Among Kaijin, the 3 dwarf brothers, and the 4 goblin lords, everyone seemed to be sticking to their duties, working efficiently for the other villagers. Really, I didn't need to do much besides offer a couple words of advice. Overseeing our food supply was Rigur, whenever he wasn't busy handling security. Garm, oldest of the dwarves, was responsible for clothing Dold, the next oldest, for making tools, and Mildo, the youngest, for home construction. All production was overseen by Kaijin, while Lilina, one of the goblin lords, managed our inventory of completed goods. That's how I figured we'd split the responsibility. The remaining goblin lords, Rigurd, and Rogurd, became my ministers of justice, legislation, and administration respectively, all aiding Rigurd with keeping the local government together. Minister of legislation sounds like a highfalutin job, but all it really involved was taking whatever I blurted out and trying to turn it into coherent law. Simple, really. But I had other things on my mind anyway. I had this human body now, and I wasn't too hot on draping rough animal pelts over it. So I decided to have someone make me some proper clothes. I paid a visit to Garm, hoping to at least acquire a child's outfit. He was stationed at our little clothing factory, a log cabin that had come into being when I wasn't paying attention, and he was overseeing a small team of goblinas as they sewed away. Yo, Garm, I could use some clothing for myself. Rimuru. Sure boss, what kind of clothes are you looking for? Garm. Whwa. You're growing. Well, not too much actually, huh? Were you a child all along or? Garm. Garm knew my elf form, so he probably thought I wanted clothes for that form. Because of that, me turning into human form surprised him. Eesh, I was hoping for a little more shock and awe. Ah well, I can be full size, too, but this is a lot easier. So could you make an outfit that'd fit? Rimuru. Oh, sure. Mind if I take some measurements? Hey, Harmna, let's get the boss all measured up. Garm. I was naked, of course, unlike my elf form. Clothes wasn't included in my human form. Probably because I used Mathine for elf form, which pretty much copied everything. It wasn't the case this time, but I didn't let that bother me as Haruna the goblina came up with a measuring rope. I was just a child, after all, and my body was genderless. Oh my! She exclaimed, blushing a little. You've become so cute, Rimuru-sama. Haruna. Cute. I mean, I personally thought so, yes, but did that still apply when it was a goblin's worldview? And for that matter, did monsters have aesthetic standards like mine? If you went way down the food chain, they were related to fairies, so perhaps their tastes were closer to mine than I gave them credit for. While I was at it, I also asked Garm to make clothes for my human adult form, since it might come in handy when fighting monsters. Fighting monsters in child form wasn't ideal. And fighting monsters in adult form while naked, even if I don't have parts, it's still shameful. So Haruna also measured my adult human form too. Garm told me to come back in a few days, and that was it. Having nothing more pressing to do, I decided to test out the skills I had obtained a bit ago. After a few days I got my clothes, and I put my new clothes in my stomach. Raphael also suggested a way to change my clothes while changing my form, so I practiced, and it was quite useful. I can change my form into human and can wear clothes while changing form, which saved a lot of my time. I can also put my clothes into my stomach while I turn back in my slime form. Next day, I entrusted important duty of rebuilding to Rigurd. Under the guidance of Rigurd and Kaijin, progress in the rebuilding village was going smoothly. I didn't have anything to do, so I decided to scout the area so I could deal with the strong monster nearby, which is hard for Rigur and others to beat. There wasn't any strong monster nearby who could cause trouble to the Rigur's team, so I decided to go a little further. As I was walking further, thunderous roar came from deep inside the forest. When I used the magic sense, I saw there was a bear. It has a horn on its head. It kinda looks like a unicorn, but kinda brown and fat. Report: the horn bear takes on the appearance of a brown-furred bear but prominently features 2 bottom tusks and a staggered horn which is situated on its forehead. Duh. I can see why it's named Horn Bear. But it's not important, the main problem is he was chasing someone. To be more specific, he was chasing a girl who is wearing high school uniform. Yes, you heard me right, she is wearing a high school uniform. Her clothes confirmed it, she is Otherworlder. She has black long hair. She looks around the age of 18. But the thing that surprised me most was her face. I remember her from my past life. I met her. What's she doing here? How did she get here? Am I dreaming or something? Surprised as I looked closely, I realized I don't have time to ponder how she got here. I have to save her first. I ran as fast as I could. While running, I took my human adult form so I could run faster. As I was getting closer, she tripped and fell. Bear behind her, seeing the chance to catch her, quickly decided to attack her. She realized she was about to be killed and looked at the bear, face white as a sheet. Bear quickly raised his arm, intending to kill her by using his sharp claws. As he was about to hit her, I quickly used the water blade. He stopped after a moment, his head fell down, then, thud, his large body fell backwards. I stood in front of her. Don't worry, I took care of the monster. I gave her the most reassuring smile I could. Then I threw a potion on her detached arm. Thanks to potion, she grew a new arm. After she understood that she was saved. Mikami-san, she spoke in dazed, passed out after that. I took her back to the village. Rimuru-sama, who is this human? Rigurd asked. Oh, Rigurd, I was about to call you. Well, you see, I found this girl being attacked by a horned bear. So I saved her. She needs some rest. I am putting her in my tent so she can rest. Assign someone to look after her and call me as soon as she wakes up. Rimuru. Yes, Rimuru-sama, I will assign someone. Rigurd. While Rigurd went to call someone, I took her and put her to bed in my tent. After that, I went to cooking stuff and gave them a horned bear I just killed, so they can make some delicious meat. Note. Well, finally, new, very important, and my favorite character is here. The next part will focus on this character's story and how she ends up in this world. As always, point out if you find any grammar or any other mistakes. Thank you for reading.
Hi guys. I made a paid service in Telegram where you will find a great collection of fanfiction audiobooks organized and regularly updated. What you get? An unlimited access to the full audiobook library. New fanfiction audiobooks added regularly. You can play audios directly from Telegram anytime. Joining our service is available through a monthly subscription of $5. You can pay using PayPal or Ko-fi. So what are you waiting for? Send me a message on Telegram or Discord. I will provide the payment details. After the payment is confirmed, you will receive access to the private Telegram channel containing all audiobooks. If you enjoy fanfiction and prefer listening instead of reading, this library is made for you. Message me anytime to join.